It's as though Pennsylvania's Mountain Ridge Trails Resort has sat quietly through the past 2 seasons waiting for when the GNCC Racing Nation would visit again. In 2014, a new chapter of Mountain Ridge begins and a number of faces and names remain the same, but as familiar as things may seem, they could not be any more different. In 2011, FMF Suzuki was kings in the sport as Josh Strang defended his title against a host of veterans and up-and-coming rookie Caleb Russell. Charlie Mullins wore the white background number plate signifying his points lead on his way to the 2011 championship, a championship that would restake the off-road championship claims for his team and ultimately begin a dominance in motorcycling that now spans all genres of the two-wheeled off-road racing sport. One thing is certainly not changed at Mountain Ridge, and that is the many obstacles from the big rocks and rock gardens to steep hill climbs and mud holes, everything that makes a perfect GNCC. The 2011 Mountain Ridge GNCC saw epic battles as Charlie Mullins captured the win. Paul Whibley grabbed second, and Josh Strang took the number 3 spot as they battled intensely to the final turns, creating a lasting impression and marking the minds of race fans all over the world. In 2014, it's a fresh, clean slate. What will the pages of history say at the end of this day? As the winds of change blow, Mountain Ridge GNCC could turn the tides in a lot of ways. Yesterday in ATV racing action, we saw that happen exactly. But today, the possibility of crowning a champion. But what's going on behind Caleb Russell? A big, big day of racing lies ahead here on RacerTV.com and GNCC Live. I'm Rodney Tomlin along with Johnny Gallagher and Jen Kenyon as we bring to you today the CarMate Custom Built Trailers Mountain Ridge GNCC. It is round number 11 of the AMSOIL GNCC Series presented by Maxxis and AMA National Championship. And have we got a great day of racing that lies ahead here. And of course, with that being said, I know Jen Kenyon is standing by down in the pits as she's really excited with what's taking place here. Like we said, a champion could be crowned today, and as well, some things happening back in that second place position. Jen?
That's right, Rodney. A lot of excitement taking place right now at the factory KTM rig as Caleb Russell looks to secure his second consecutive XC1 championship a couple rounds early here at the Mountain Ridge GNCC. But according to the point spread that we have right now, Caleb Russell doesn't necessarily have to win here. He just has to finish well inside the top 10. So we're going to be looking for Caleb to potentially do that here today. He's going for his 21st career victory, which is putting him right up there inside the top 5 in the all-time wins record, which is a pretty impressive feat all in itself. But of course, Rodney, we've got tons of other great championship battles going on here. We've got guys that are battling for that second place position. Right now, that position is held by Josh Strang. Now, last time we were here in 2011, Josh was on the podium along with Paul Whibley. Of course, Charlie Mullins was the last winner here at the Mountain Ridge GNCC. We're not going to see him here today, but those other guys are going to be hungry for a win. They haven't gotten one just yet. And like we talked about last round at Unadilla, Thad Duvall was on it there. We're looking for him to be on the podium again. He is going to be on that 450 machine, which is something we didn't see him ride there in the first half of the season. It looks like it's given him an all-new wave of confidence, so we're definitely going to keep an eye on the 989. Another Honda-backed rider that we should keep an eye on is going to be the number 3 of Chris Bach. He's really starting to get his confidence here at the end of the season. He's got those long legs, and that really could come into his advantage here in a rock race. Definitely want to keep an eye on the number 1 of Grant Baylor. He is leading those XC2 Pro Lights points right now. We did see an unfortunate incident with the number 2 of Ricky Russell, so while Grant Baylor has a little bit more room there in the XC2 battle, he wants to get that overall win so badly here in 2014. So we're going to watch for that too. But for now, Rodney, we're going to head over to you and we're going to get today's lineup in the XC1 Pro class.
It's as though Pennsylvania's Mountain Ridge.
Our starting lineup for this Mountain Ridge GNCC. Rolling to the line first today in points. Aboard the number 1. He hails from Boonville, North Carolina, on a factory FMF KTM, on the verge of his second consecutive GNCC title. The number 1, Caleb Russell. Rolling to the line today, second in points, aboard the number 4, a former GNCC champion, hailing from Australia on a Rocky Mountain ATV MC, NFAB, and Pro Yamaha, Josh Strang. Rolling to the line next today, he is 4th in points. He rides aboard the number 7 from Cookeville, Tennessee. As well on board an Infab and Pro Yamaha, Jordan ASHBURN. Rolling to the line today, he is 5th in points aboard the number 4. One of Pennsylvania's own, Andrew DeLong. Rolling to the line today, 7th in points aboard the number 3 on a Rockstar Lucas Oil JCR backed Honda from Crown Point, Indiana, Chris Bach. Rolling to the line today, he is 8th in points. He rides aboard the number 989 from Williamstown, West Virginia on a RideMPS.com AMSOIL Honda, Thad Duvall. Rolling to the line next today, he is 10th in points. He rides aboard the number 12, a former Japanese cross-country champion. He now lives in Mooresville, North Carolina, riding aboard a Palmer Motorsports Thumper Racing Motivation suspension-backed Honda, Takeshi KOIKEDA. And rolling to the line next today, aboard the number 353 from Japan, it is Koibashi Masahiro. Rolling to the line, picking 12th spot today, aboard the number 16 from Morrison, Illinois, on a Woodstock KTM backed by Fly Racing, CD Boots, Maxxis, and PG Graphics, Adam Bonor. The number 22 rolls to the line next. He hails from Cincinnati, Ohio, on a KTM, Chris Douglas. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 9 from England, a former XC2 Pro Lights Class champion, riding aboard a Maxxis Climb Dirtwise Riding Academy KTM, UKJT Jason Thomas. Next to the line, aboard the number 397 from Sandown, New Hampshire, on board the KTM, Tanner Thomas. And rolling to the line today, aboard the number 264 from Ekron, Kentucky, a former motocross star and actually just off a podium a few weeks ago at the Indiana Motocross National, riding aboard a Rockstar WMR Performance KTM, Ryan Sipes. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your starting lineup for this CarMate Custom Built Trailers Mountain Ridge GNCC. And the stage is set, as we have pointed out, for a lot of great things to happen. A championship crowning on the horizon and a great battle starting to shape up for the number 2 in this GNCC championship title. Now the bikes begin to warm up and rev, and the hearts begin to pound, and this cool mountaintop is about to heat up with the action of GNCC racing. First up will be our XC1 Pro class. They'll be racing for that all balls, bearings, and components $250 whole shot award. The XC2 Pro Lights class, they will be racing as well for the digitaloffroad.com whole shot award of $100, courtesy of Jason Hooper and the folks over at digitaloffroad.com. And folks, what a glorious day. We started out with beautiful sunshine just moments ago. a few rain showers, and it didn't last long. It blew through quick. Some more blue skies and back to some cloud cover. A lot of unknown variables heading into this race day. Could the winds of change be blowing here on the two-wheel side of things, as we saw the winds pick up yesterday with that big switch and turnaround in the points with Walker Fowler and Chris Borch? But today, it's all about the motorcycles. It's all about this XC1 Pro class getting ready to roll in less than 1 minute. 1 minute before the start of our CartMate custom-built trailers, Mountain Ridge GNCC. Paul Whibley, a noted hole shot expert and specialist, going to be going for another $250, and the Axeman could see the winds of change blowing in his favor as far as overall finishes are concerned as well today. The blue flags are out. We're less than 30 seconds. Shut them down, guys. Shut them down. Shut them down. All righty, folks, as we get set to roll here from the great state of Pennsylvania, I got to ask you, PA race fans, are you ready to go GNCC racing? Come on, PA, we're in the heart of GNCC country. Let me ask you one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC racing? 10 seconds. And row number 1, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling at our Mountain Ridge GNCC. First turn, we roll. Riders diving in. Paul Whibley, he dives out first, and he grabs another $250 hole shot. Josh Strang is back there in the number 2 position, opening up in this one, in a great battle already and ensuing jockeying for position. It looks like that's Jason Thomas getting off to a top 3 start there now as he's jockeying for that 3rd place spot. XC2 Pro lights coming up next. Grant Baylor, Scott Grills, Trevor Bollinger, Jedediah Haynes, Samuel Evans, Michael McGinnis, Zach Love, Derek Allen, Alex Behart, also Nick Davis, Mark Horesco, Matt Harrington, Douglas Kephart, and Colin May ready to roll in 10 seconds for row number 2, the XC2 Pro lights. And they're off. A great jump. Baylor not necessarily lined up for the hole shot, but he comes out of that first turn nearly lined up, but it's the 222 of Nick Davis. Davis on that KR4 Performance Arrive and Ride machine, grabbing that $100 digitaloffroad.com hole shot award. As we go now to row number 3, this will be our Open A class. Open A class with Bob Dunlap, Phil Smith, also Nathan Thornhill, J.B. Love, Zach Hayes, Hunter Williams, Grant Marriott, Tegan Temple, Ryan Quinn, and more in 10 seconds. Joseph McCarty, Brandon Peterson, Spencer Hoyt, Vincent Smith, Zach Dodson, Jesse Kildlow, Josh Lewis, and Andrew Boggs off and rolling. Coming up next, we got the 250A class. Nathan Thornhill, I saw there in the 2nd place position, lining up for that 3rd turn. See if he's able to make the pass. 250A class. Craig DeLong, Ben Parsons, the 123 of Austin Lee, Michael Witkowski, William Ruckel, also Nolan Seifert, Caleb Ward, and Mason Atherton. As we turn our attention down the turn 1 again, and Ricky Tower readies these riders and lets them know 10 seconds for the 250A class. Position jockeying continue once again. 4-stroke 8 lights will be coming up next, and we got 282 grabbing the early lead in this one. That's Mike Witkowski out of North Liberty, Indiana. 4-stroke 8 lights coming up. Brady Myers, Alex Teagarden, Luke Parsons, Tyler Braniff, Mac Jones, Van McCarron, Ryan Slotko, also Cole Kirkhoff, Brandon Hayes, Thorne Devlin, Lloyd Leonard, Cody Jeffries, Tristan Landrum, Jake Froman, Braxton McGee, Andrew Franson, Aaron Coxon in 10 seconds. 4-stroke A lights. And another clean start for the 4-stroke A lights class. Senior A 40 plus coming up next, but it is the 862 of Jake Froman. Froman taking the early lead out of Linville, Indiana on a Obermeyer Suzuki MSR recluseback machine. Senior A 40 plus class coming up next. We got Kenny Hawkins, Harry Engelhart, Doug Blackwell, former National Hare Scrambles champ, Rob Hurt, Stephen Walken, Max Clifford, Billy Schlag, John Leonard, Brett Turkila, and Frank Tusselwin. 10 seconds. Senior A 40 plus. Billy Schlag got a great jump there. Let's see if he's able to hang on to it on that 418 machine. Yeah, he does. Schlag grabbing the hole shot out of Charlotte Hall, Maryland here with us today. As we go to our 200A class next, Logan Paboul, John Hugel, also Zachary Ferentz, Christopher Venditti, Nick Bellinger, Clint Masters, Michael Pillar, Nick Papa, Anthony Montana, Brandon Gearing, and Jonathan Johnson ready to roll next in this 200A class in 10 seconds. 200A. And Logan Papoul, look at this, the 56 getting a good jump. Also John Hugel Jr. out of Venus, Pennsylvania, that is. Also a good jump, and it is actually neither. Might have been, well, I didn't catch that number on the helmet, but Vet A 30 plus class coming up next. Old Joe Marsh, Shotgun Sean Remington, Big Jim Steiner there, I guess. Also, we got Joe Kessler, John Beaver, Matthew Romali, Jason Andring, Curtis Ryan, and John Nickel. 10 seconds. Vet A 30 plus class off and rolling now. To the Vet B class. They sent B first? I think that might have been the Vet B they just sent there, so maybe this is going to be the Vet A class. Seconds. That's the Vet B. That was the Vet A. All right, we were right. We were right. So here comes the 801 of Tom Truxell out of Verona, Pennsylvania, grabbing the hole shot in his Vet B class. Leaders are going through the pits right now over in the XC1 Pro class. As the Open B class gets set to roll next, Ryan Inman, Andrew McQuaid, Jeremy Randolph, Devin Gold, Neil Krause. Also Josh Atkins. 10 seconds. CJ Seichinger, Tyler Anderson, John Wagner, Bill Zanvitti, Jordan Burkhart, Denver DeShong, Chris Bartone, Ian Smith, Nick Brutch, and Daniel Sladovnik. Sladovnik off and rolling now, and the rest of the field, that is actually the 109 is what I'm seeing there. So we'll go to the Senior B 40 plus class according to our race papers here. Senior B, Devin Ferguson, Andrew Davis, Michael Bryant, Mark Adkins, Mark Proper, Daniel Powers, Thomas Kunick, Leon Whittaker, Eric Robinson, Jay DeBerry, and Mark Federico. 10 seconds. So that's our Senior B 40 plus. 337. Michael Bryant from McKean, PA, taking the early lead in that. 4-stroke B lights coming up next. Matthew White, Justin Leonard, Hunter McDaniels, also Trey Jefferson, Brian Maskus, Gary Enman, Christopher McManus, Michael Tetlow, Colton Hawk, Alex Ankrum, and Austin Evans set and ready to roll next. Seconds for the four-stroke B lights. Awesome carnage down in turn number 1. 403, Christopher McManus. That's his helmet tag number anyway, so McManus gets the whole shot and credit for the early lead as we go to the 250B class. Colin Keegan, Regis Calfo, Blaine Santee, Matthew Donahue, Zach Perry, Garrett Ward, Donnie Larita, Devin Byer, Augustus Deal, also Cody Martin, William Hart, Tyler Williams, Brandon Boyers, Noah Martz. 10 seconds. JoJo Bowden, Coleman Brinson, Joshua Plummer, Ryan McManus, Kobe Becker, Joshua Catch. Also, we got George Shell, Nick Johnson, and Brandon Henry taking off now. And here comes the 5:19, I believe, of Ryan McManus out of Nelsonville, Ohio. JD Performance, Shriver's Pharmacy, Attitude Salon Back Machine. And the 200B class, our final row on the start line right now. Brady Ware, Russell Smith, Dawson Dunnick, Neil Inman, George Luschel, Parker Jones, Connor Karkowski, Zachary Hugel, and Braden Moore ready to roll in 10 seconds. Our final row off and rolling here in just moments at this CarMate Custom Built Trailers, Mountain Ridge GNCC, and we are off and rolling now as the green flag is waved on this one. And this 200B jockeys for position now as they round the first turn. How's it all going to sort out? 5:13, Connor Karkowski from Plumball, Pennsylvania, taking the early lead in this one. And that's our start for this Mountain Ridge GNCC. Of course, we've got about 3 hours of great racing lying ahead and a lot of unexpected and exciting things, I'm sure, lying ahead with it. Of course, we'll be back with more on GNCC Live with RacerTV.com's coverage right after this.
Any engine, any season, at home, at the track, or on the trail. AMSOIL for any engine.
Sometimes you come across something so different, you just have to stop and check it out. The Rocky Mountain ATV MC website has everything you need, from our huge selection of apparel and gear to dirt bike accessories and OEM parts. Our extensive inventory means most orders arrive in 3 days or less. Get low prices, quick shipping, and incredible customer service. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
What do you call a machine that combines precision-engineered handling, industry-leading power, and a rider-focused design? We call it a Can-Am. From the essentials to fully loaded, you'll find that same combination in every ATV and side-by-side we build. And right now, get your own for as low as $149 a month. Can-Am, the ride says it all.
Find your flow with Maxxis tires.
Motocross for me has never been about the fame.
Here on RacerTV.com, we're here at the Mountain Ridge GNCC Round 11 of the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series, presented by Maxxis and sanctioned by AMA. I'm Jen Kenyon, joined here by Johnny Gallagher. Johnny, welcome back to GNCC Racing here in Somerset. You raced yesterday. We'll talk about that just a little bit later. Right now, what you folks are seeing here on the RacerTV.com screens, we got a little bit of the wood shot. We got some rocky, crazy, gnarly things going on out there, and we're going to check in with Barry Hawk in just a little bit, but we want to update everybody. Since the start, we did see Paul Whibley take the XT1 All Balls Racing Whole Shot Award. Josh Strang, his teammate on the NFAB and Pro Yamaha, he is right there in the second place position. Johnny, we don't have much of an update on the rest of it, but we did see the number one, Caleb Russell. He didn't get such a good start out there.
No, it looked like Caleb was mired a little bit there in the mid-pack, but, you know, he proved that last weekend or 2 weekends ago at New York that, you know, with a not great start, he can make some move quick. And actually took a second to speak with him earlier today and asked him how he does that. And he said, you know, he said, honestly, he said, I just attack early and get up through that pack. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, as the points shape up and everything kind of works itself out here late in the season, you know, Caleb has the ability to be a little bit more conservative if he would so choose. But as of right now, he definitely is not doing so. He's on, you know, full rage race pace and out there to make a statement and to get out front. And with a bad start, it'll be interesting to see. You know, Barry's going to give us a track description here in a bit, but there's a lot of treachery and a lot of places out there where some big things are going to happen and things are going to get shaken up quite a bit today. I'm going to call that now.
Yeah, you know, I don't think there's such thing as a bad start for Caleb Russell, because no matter where he comes off the whole shot, it always seems like after the opening lap, he's either out front or close to the front. So we'll definitely keep an eye on the 557, actually the number one, who could potentially wrap up the championship here at round 11. So we'll keep that in mind, but first we're going to go to Barry Hawk and we'll see just what these guys have going on out there.
Everyone, we got a 10.5 mile track laid out here at Somerset. They take off the start here. The 2 mile marker, Somerset's known for a lot of rocks, and at the 2 mile marker, the guys are going to get into a big rock section. Plenty of lines in there, but that's going to be, the rocks are going to be key today. As long as guys can get through them good, that's going to be the most important part. Once they get through the rocks at the 2, they're going to come into the pro pits at the 3 mile marker. Go through the pro pits, head out to the 4. At the 4 mile marker, that's there's a nasty, muddy section with a bunch of rocks in there at the 4 mile marker. Line selection is going to be critical there. Once they exit there at the mud after the 4, the ATVs, we have them turning left, going through a little rock section, but on for the bikes, the 1 p.m. bike race, they're going to continue up through those rocks, and it's really technical. I went through there a couple times on my bike, and I personally like riding the rocks, but if you don't like the rocks, you could struggle in there. It's going to be really, really technical in there. Once they get through that section, the bikes are going to tie back into the ATV track at the 5 mile marker. Got some more rocks at the 5, to the 6 mile marker. When they get to the 6, they're going to be back out of the rocks. There's a bunch of pine trees here. They're going to zigzag back and forth through the pines, out towards the 7 mile marker to the 8. To 9 mile marker, we have a good little tight wood section, bunch of logs on the ground, bunch of rocks. I think the guys, hopefully they enjoy that section. Once they get out of there, they're going to come to the FMF power point. We've got a couple lines to go. Actually, there's about 8 lines up that power point. The fastest 2 lines are going to be straight up. They're side by side. Should be really good video in there for you guys. When they get to the top of that, they're going to make a left. If they don't want to go up that power point, they can sweep around to the right, but it's going to be probably 15 seconds slower to go around. So if somebody doesn't make it up that hill and they got to go around, that could be a game changer today. From there, they're going to head in towards the finish line and complete their lap. So hopefully everybody enjoys it and leaves here with a smile on their face. Everyone, we got a 10.5
All right, thanks, Barry. I'm sure these guys have a big smile on their face out there on the course. Johnny, now you raced this track yesterday. Barry just described everything that we have out there. It sounds like it's a pretty treacherous track out there.
Yeah, you know, and the one thing definitely worth mentioning is that I walked the track on Friday, and it looked a lot like what we just saw on some of that helmet cam footage for those of you at home watching. There was a lot of grass, a lot of tall weeds. We haven't raced here in a few years, and although it is a riding park, you know, the Racer Productions crew did an awesome job of getting kind of off of the beaten trails that they use for the riding park. So there, while we do cross it and run a few sections here and there, a lot of it was tall weeds and grass and goldenrod, if you will, the kind of flowered stuff that you see all around this park.
Goldenrod, really?
That's
is
what
it
it's
really
called. That
goldenrod?
is actually the name of it. I grew up a landscaper, so I know these things. But yes, the crazy part was, though, just after the morning race and the youth on Saturday, all of that was gone, and what we had was, you know, churned up dirt that just quickly became dusty. Now, obviously, for those of you at home and that don't know, we did get a little bit of rain here just at the conclusion of the morning amateur race, and you know, that kind of made things slick and interesting for them. But as we can see, there's already dust stirring up in the afternoon. So the rain that we got, although it certainly is going to help, I don't think it's going to alleviate all of the dust issues today. We're definitely going to still have some issues, and these guys are going to have to fight their way through plumes of dust, and along with the goldenrod and other things that are out there, and plenty of rocks. You know that this place is not short on rocks. There's rocks of every type. There's big round rocks that are the size of cars, and then there's small rocks that are, you know, sharpened up. Somebody went out there and filed them perfectly so they can take out tires and other parts on dirt bikes and ATVs. Hey, you know, he's a diabolical character, that Barry Hawk.
He's always trying to throw extra little obstacles at you guys.
Absolutely.
He's doing whatever he can to make it hard. But now it sounds like you guys had a really good track yesterday. Things were definitely a little dustier than what we've seen so far. But like you said, we got a little bit of rain this morning. But that wasn't enough to take away probably the dust that we're going to see, especially here in a 3-hour race. So that could be a huge factor. Not quite the lappers that we maybe saw last round at Unadilla, but it's definitely going to be an extra obstacle that Mother Nature is going to roll at these guys.
Well, and the interesting thing about this track is there's such a diversity. We say that almost every round. There's a lot of diversity in this track, but this track probably offers the most diversity in terms of some of the rock sections. These guys are going to be picking their way through in first and second gear, going, you know, just a few mile an hour, and then also, this track boasts, without a question of doubt, the fastest straightaways and open sections where up on the hillside behind us, you know, there's a big pine forest that kind of weaves its way through, and that's all, you know, high third, fourth, fifth gear, you know, flat out stuff. And then once you cross to the side of the road where actually the finish line is, it's all just fast from there. So, but there's plenty of interesting things in the weeds. So these guys, I'm sure most of them went out and took the opportunity to walk the track either this morning or yesterday and kind of pick their lines and pick their spots, because especially once that dust starts coming across and impairs your vision, it makes it tough to make sure you're in the right spot. And when you're carrying that kind of speed, you definitely don't want to find out that there's a Volkswagen-sized rock in front of you.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now, those of you that are just joining us here on RacerTV.com, welcome to GNCC Live here at Round 11. We're at the Mountain Ridge ATV Trails Park here in Somerset, Pennsylvania. We've got lots of great scenery over here. We've got some windmills churning. It's a bit windy. The skies are a little bit gray, but it's a perfect day for racing. Now, we saw Paul Whibley get the XC1 hole shot. And Johnny, if you remember back to 2011, the last time we were here for GNCC racing, Paul Whibley and Josh Strang were two of the guys that were on the podium. They were two of the favorites heading into this one, not only because they're past champions, not only because they're fast, but, you know, they've done well at this race before. So it's no surprise to see those two up front. Like we said before, our number one rider, Caleb Russell, didn't get the best start, but we have not seen them check through the finish line yet, so we have no idea he could be in any position, so we're going to keep an eye there. We did see the 222 of Nick Davis. He got the XC2 hole shot. Nick's been really consistent on the podium lately, so it'll be interesting to see just how that shapes up. You know, we got word that we have Grant Baylor, who's winning the XC2 points right now. We got word that the second place guy, Ricky Russell, he had to get surgery. He won't be here, so Grant's pretty much got that XC2 Pro Lights Championship on lock. I guess you can never say never. There's probably some sort of crazy point spread that it could work itself out, but right now Grant's the guy in the lead, but guys like Nick Davis and Trevor Bollinger, they want to get those wins too, so that XC2 battle is going to be just as exciting as what we're going to see, I think, in XC1.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, you mentioned Trevor Bollinger, and I believe with Ricky Russell, he is actually here supporting his teammates, but you know, just had surgery earlier this week and released via social media and a press release that he was going to sit out the rest of the season. Smart decision on his part. Obviously, put in a stellar season for himself and for that Reigns, you know, team that he rides for, the Yamaha team. And, you know, unfortunately for him, it just turned out to be something that was a little bit more than what he had anticipated when it initially happened. But you know, Trevor Bollinger most likely will be inheriting that second place position in points here very soon, and it is important for him to keep the pressure on, because as we said, you know, Grant Baylor does not have that locked up completely yet, and here we see our leaders at the FMF PowerPoint, and that was Jordan Ashburn, so it appears that
wow, Jordan Ashburn actually crashed in the first corner.
Yeah.
He dumped it over. He was looking like he could get the whole shot, contest Paul Whibley and Josh Strang there. Those Yamaha guys are really on it on the whole shots, and actually seems like Yamaha, motocross, off-road, wherever it is, those guys are killing the whole shot. So Not only is Johnny representing the blue here, but I'm going to give him a plug too because, man, those guys are really nailing the whole shots this year.
Yeah, and to see 3 blue bikes out front there, that's quite a statement for those guys early. And like as we said, with the dust being a factor, you definitely want to be up front early. Not only is it saving your vision and allowing you to really ride a little bit easier, being able to see what's in front of you, but also we have to remember that each of these bikes has an air filter that has a tendency to get clogged up. And speaking from experience yesterday, my air filter was completely clogged by the end of the second lap. So
yeah, man, talking to those youth riders this morning, those guys all had issues with air filters and the dust and everything. A couple of the kids said they did some things. They got some sleeves that would go over their air filter to try to save it. Some people stopped and took the cover off their air box, all these different things. Surely these professional riders and teams, they've got some things dialed in. I don't know quite what they are. Maybe you've got a better insight, or maybe we might have to just go and talk to some of the teams, find out what they're running, and just see if they're doing anything special out there. But yeah, I mean, that could be the deciding winner or loser there for them today.
Yeah, and like I said, those 3 blue bikes out front, those are the 3 guys that are sucking the least amount of dust, and here they come checking into the finish line now. So that's Jordan Ashburn out front on the number 7, and we need to point out that Jordan has really excelled in the rocks this year. If you think back to Snowshoe and Indiana, and perhaps it's that tall stature, those long legs that allow him to get up on top of that bike and kind of paddle his way through those technical sections. Paul Whibley checking in second. Josh Strang hot on his heels. So those guys are setting a really quick pace early. And we have Jason Thomas returning after a weekend off, missed the Unadilla race due to a concussion, and he's on a 252 stroke today. So I heard a couple of the XC1 guys comment on the starting line that they knew he was going to get a good start, and there we find our number 1 of Caleb Russell. So he's in the 5th place spot, and then Chris Bach in 6th on the JCR Honda. So those guys all putting the hammer down early. Thad Duvall seemed to be a little bit further back earlier, but now checking in the number 7 spot. And although Thad is from West Virginia, Jen, this is nearly a home race for him as well. Very close to here, and he's certainly used to these conditions.
All right, well, it's no time better than now to get our podium predictions underway. We'll give you the top 10 rundown right now. We'll give you a little cheat sheet, and then we're going to ask you guys to do a little bit of tweeting here. So right now we have our running order. First place right now is Jordan Ashburn, Paul Whibley, Josh Strang. 4th place, Jason Thomas. In the 5th place spot, Caleb Russell. Chris Bach in 6th, Thad Duvall in 7th, Andrew DeLong's in 8th. Chris Douglas is making his way up to the XC1 class here this season. He is going to be in the number 10 spot. Ryan Sipes 11, and Adam Bonnier comes in the 12th place position. So what we want you guys to do is tweet your podium predictions, your top 3 finishers, who you think is going to land on the podium at this race here today, and you're going to have a chance to win $250 in AMSOIL product. All you have to do, Johnny, is hashtag GNCC Live, and you'll be in the running for that. We're going to choose a winner here at the end of the show. You don't have to be right. You don't even have to be close. You just have to hashtag GNCC Live, and you probably should make it someone who's racing out there today, right?
Absolutely. I would think that an active participant would be a much better decision than someone who's not. But other than that, make them fit who your favorite riders are, or give us the guys that you think are going to get it done in the conditions that we have here today, and just make sure you participate, because in order to win, you got to get that hashtag and get it out there before we pick our winner coming up later in the show. So get on that and get on Twitter, get active, and get excited. Follow us along here.
All right, so we always have to play this game ourselves, Johnny. Top 3 podium prediction. Go.
Oh, man, I'm actually not ready today. I'm going to go with, it really is hard. I hate to just kind of pile on the bandwagon, but it's hard to bet against Caleb Russell right now. He's got all the momentum. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Caleb Russell for the win. I'm going to go with Thad Duvall for 2nd, and I'm going to put my guy Chris Bach in there for 3rd. So that's my top 3. So he, those guys, hopefully they can get up there and get it done and make me look right. Although I won't be participating in the AMSOIL Challenge.
Hashtag GNCC
Live.
Won't choose you.
Nonetheless, that is my prediction. So how about you, Jen?
All right, so let's think about. I'm going to be really strategic with this here. What we've got going
it's
on,
like we got a fantasy football draft going on here.
We got the windmills out here, so I'm going to judge how fast the wind is blowing, where I think the clouds are, how high above the sun is, even though it's probably in the same place every day.
Sounds to me like a bunch of malarkey.
Okay, so my top 3 podium prediction, I'm going to go with, in no particular order, I'm going to put Jordan Ashburn up there. I'm going to put Josh Strang up there, and I'm going to put Caleb Russell. But I'm going to throw in my wild card Grant Baylor.
Ooh,
I'm going to insert him as my 4th choice. He could either be included or not, whatever.
And
my fourth guy.
He certainly has proven, in the past several races that he has the speed to do so. And as we see on the screen in front of us, he's currently running 4th overall. So you got a little bit of insider information there before you.
No, I'm not cheating. It was because of the way that the windmills were turning here at the Mountain Ridge ATV Riding Park. There's just a certain aura that says that Grant Baylor could or could not land up there. It has nothing to do with his really impressive riding skills and how close he's come to winning the overall this year. But we're going to go for it. So now what they're seeing on the screen right now, Johnny, a nice uphill, nice and rocky, nice and rooty, and there's tons of Pennsylvania fans out there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. FMF PowerPoint, and that was pretty gnarly yesterday, and offered a little excitement there towards near the end of the lap. That's about the 9-mile marker there at the FMF PowerPoint, and it's about a 10.5-mile track to the finish. So it's about 1.5 miles from there to the finish. So as Barry showed us, there's a couple different lines up that thing, and certainly offers several passing opportunities as we come near the finish line. So maybe early in the race, it's not something that's playing into people's plans too much, but later in the race, definitely these guys are going to be paying attention to, as they approach that section, who's in front of them lapper-wise, and if they have the opportunity to make passes for a podium position or maybe even a win. You never know. I mean, that's to have the PowerPoint so close to the finish definitely gives us a little bit of added excitement today. So who knows? Maybe it'll factor into who ends up winning this race or who ends up on the podium today.
That's right. And actually, we have Rodney Tomlin joining us here in the RacerTV.com studio. Rodney, you had an exciting afternoon of starts down there.
Yeah, actually we did, and I'm pretty impressed with what actually took place down there. I'm pretty surprised by a couple of things also. Jason Thomas was battling right off the bat there for a top 3 position and actually passed into 3rd right off the start there. It was pretty amazing stuff considering I don't want to call it a lackluster year, but the year that he has had, which hasn't definitely been up to par for what I know that Jason Thomas wants, and he is currently running in a number 5 spot overall, which I believe actually puts him in 4th place in class. So he's right there in striking distance of a podium. Grant Baylor is running in a 4th place position overall right now, so that's the spoiler for him to keep him out of that arena for the 4th place position right now. But he's still right there, not far behind. If you look at the gap, it's only about 11.2 seconds up to the number 3 position of Josh Strang. So that was one of my big surprises. Another is to see Caleb Russell so far back in 6th place right now. And there's Chris Bach. We were talking about good things coming for him. And right now it looks like Johnny Gallagher that he is trying to make up for some lost ground in the early part of this race.
Yeah, we saw in our live shot there, we saw it looked like it was I missed the first 2, and I believe Caleb possibly may have made his way around that Strang-Wibley battle and into the number 2 spot, but then after that, it appeared that we had Chris Bach in the number 5 spot. Again, we had, and here we see now, so is Jordan Ashburn as they come through the pro pits, who does still have the lead. That's at the 3-mile marker. So these guys are hammered down, and Jordan's actually pulled a bit of a gap. So that's exciting for him here. And he's run up front several times and been on the podium a bunch this year. But for him to pull a gap like this early, this is a sign of maybe he's feeling a little bit of extra swagger, a little bit extra confidence today. And you mentioned Jason Thomas, and again on that 252 stroke. Now, and apparently we have. This is actually a shot from a little bit earlier, it looks like, because Caleb was behind that Paul Wibley and Josh Strang battle that we saw.
Well, as they make their way through the pro pits, you see Chad Duvall right there. Thad Duvall's dad and mechanic, kind of wondering where things are. As we take a quick look at the XC1 battle going on right now, as we pointed out, Jordan Ashburn leading Paul Wibley, Josh Strang, Jason Thomas, and Caleb Russell in the number 5 spot. Chris Bach in 6th, Thad Duvall back in 7th, Andrew DeLong 8th, 9th spot, Chris Douglas, and rounding out the top 10. And as we get into the early part of this race and start to sink our teeth into things right now, Johnny Gallagher, right now probably be a good time to explain to the folks at home that may be first-time GNCC watchers or not really understand what's going on. And to help with that, we've created a little feature called the GNCC 101.
Folks, the hardest thing about racing is learning to go fast. But we're going to get you up to speed quickly with everything you need to know about Grand National Cross Country Racing with GNCC 101. By definition, Grand National Cross Country Racing is a cross-country style motorsports race. We race ATVs, motorcycles, and side-by-sides here, and depending on the event schedule, you'll see 6 to 7 races on a given weekend. Some feature riders as young as age 4, and there's even classes for riders over the age of 60. GNCC racers come from all 50 states as well as numerous countries from around the world, because this is the prestigious championship they're all chasing. Every GNCC race starts with the dead engine start, which means the engines are turned off until the starter waves the green flag. Each rider lines up on the designated row of his or her class, and with the wave of the green, the race is on. From there, the strategy's simple. Get to the finish line as fast as you can. The racetrack is actually designated not by established trail, but by race arrows. And with some exceptions, the riders must stay within 25 feet of the arrows all the way around the track. The riders don't get to practice or pre-run the course before the race either. They're essentially learning it while they're racing and following the arrows. However, riders can walk the track at designated times prior to their race day. A GNCC racetrack includes just about everything, including trails, footpaths, roads, hills, motocross tracks, any terrain that you can navigate with a dirt bike, an ATV, or a side-by-side. You can expect to see a little bit of everything on a given race weekend. The tracks are typically between 9 and 12 miles long for the afternoon race, and a little bit shorter for the youth, amateur, and side-by-side races. If you're watching the racing and you're trying to pick out the fastest riders, the XC1 or Pro level racers are going to be running red number plate backgrounds with white numbers on them, and the XC2 Pro Lights riders will be running green number plates with white numbers. The points leader in each class will have their number plate colors reversed. Flags are key here too. The green flag, of course, signals the start of the race. A yellow flag signals caution, signals the race is over, but you already knew that. Riders are scored electronically when they cross the finish line via a transponder mounted on their bike. Then the overall position and times are adjusted according to the row in which each racer started on. Once the race is over, we invite the top 3 finishers in both pro classes to be interviewed on the Maxis Victory Lane podium, and the top riders in every class are awarded trophies. So now you're close to being a certified expert on GNCC racing. But if you want to learn more, check out the series website at gnccracing.com. Or do it the new way and just follow the series on the following social media sites. They'll tell you everything you need to know. After that, we'll see you at the races, and we'll talk to you about it in person.
And, of course, Johnny
Folks, the
Gallagher,
hardest thing about racing
all about
is
GNCC right there, my friends. And, of course, Johnny, while we're watching this first lap unfold here, some changes going on, and one of the big changes taking place is the fact that the rain showers have started to fall. This could be some blessings in disguises in some areas, and other places it may be a little bit of a hindrance. But as far as the dusty conditions portion of it is concerned, it's going to be good for the riders out there, but it might, well, the rain showers are coming down, the mud's flicking up and stuff. It might be a little bit vision impairing for a little bit, but other than that, I mean, honestly, probably not so much as what the dust has been and what it was yesterday, especially with the ATVs and before this morning's rain shower.
Yeah, you know, definitely. We did get that rain shower earlier this morning during the morning race we spoke about. Nothing like what we just experienced, although it was kind of brief and it appears it has tapered off a little bit. That was some really hard rain that just came down, kind of came out of nowhere. All indications from the weather report and everybody I talked to said that the rain had passed. We were going to be clear for the rest of the day, and obviously that turned out not to be the case. So this most recent shower that came in, it's important to point out that although it definitely is keeping down the dust in some areas, it all
Pro Yamaha team, man, this could be monumental for this young man to be able to come away with this win. He's been progressively getting better, but he has also been quietly back there just kind of honing those skills.
Oh, Rodney, look at this on the FMF PowerPoint. Now that's roughly the 9-mile marker, and where those guys came through is just 4 miles from reaching this section is Jordan Ashburn. So, you know, that could and here we see Caleb Russell now checking in. I believe that would be our number 2 rider. Yep. So again, as we had speculated, it looked like from some earlier shots he had gotten around the battling duo of Paul Whibley and Josh Strang. Now it seems Josh Strang into the number 3 spot. Wow. Oh, and when they get a little bit of water on them, they really get slippery.
Looks like there's some polished dirt there on top of that as well with that rain. It's making it pretty slick out there. You know, I watched this line yesterday with the ATV guys. Some of the riders early in the race were missing that alternate line right there. And we're noticing these guys are actually taking it at last options. You know, they're not even seeing it until they actually get right there. But look at this, man. Whibley getting some pressure now, it looks like, from the number 3 of Chris Bach. So Whibley's falling back a little bit, but Bach, I think, is actually moving up some right now. He seems to really be dialing things in, and everything starts to turn around for him all of a sudden here on lap number 2.
Yeah, you know, Chris put in a really solid ride there at Unadilla, and he ended up in the 4th place position. Earlier in the race, we saw him in 6th. Now he's up to 5th, and appears to be putting a little bit of pressure on Paul Whibley for that number 4 spot, as we mentioned. So, you know, like you said, a little bit of swing for him in the offseason, in the summer break, if you will, and coming back a little bit more rejuvenated. But Paul Whibley also, you know, he's had some rough races here as of late, and you know, I've known Paul for a bit and had the opportunity to speak with him, and you know, I asked him after Unadilla, I said, you know, Paul, that was a pretty good ride. I believe he ended up 6th or 7th, and he said, no, that was not a good ride. You know, he's not happy at all with that. You know, he's a former champion, obviously. You know, is a guy that considers himself to be not only a podium contender but a race winner week in and week out. So it's good to see him up front early and battling, and always gets a good start. But you know, these conditions, Paul's a fighter, and you know, we don't call him the Axeman for nothing. And as it continues to get tougher, I think that there's certainly an opportunity for Paul to get himself up there into a podium position or even battle for a win. We do see some of our XC2 riders working their way through now. We saw, it looked like Trevor Bollinger and Nick Davis doing a little bit of battling there, and I believe Grant Baylor was out ahead of them. We may have missed him, so it's, you know, that as we talked about, that we're going to keep an eye on those points and see how that shapes up. And a lot of battles going on out there early in this race, and the rain making things interesting.
Yeah, you're going to definitely want to make sure you're prepared for this. Look at this option lines now at the FMF PowerPoint. Certainly going to want to make sure you're prepared for this in any way, shape, or form. And one way is to make sure you got the right oils and things in your machine. And AMSOIL, the first in synthetics, of course, available right here trackside and at a local AMSOIL dealer that you may have. It's actually a dealer individual. So, but regardless, AMSOIL providing all kinds of great oils, from the shock and off-road racing oils to the diesel oils and everything. And I think what's really cool about AMSOIL, they have this Legends building sweepstakes, building legends. What they're doing is they're giving away an EDR 1190RX. This is a road racing machine, basically, that is team legal. And they're going to be giving that away here in December. So be sure to stop by the booth and sign up for log on line. And you can do so through their Facebook page. It's AMSOIL, first in synthetics. Back out here at the FMF PowerPoint, Johnny, looking at the rain, you know, in those trees, there's still some rain making its way through right there. The world's riders are actually starting to notice that.
That was a little bit of thunder there, Rodney. The clouds really opened up. So.
Yeah, but the track, I mean, it's funny how some guys they'll look at it and they'll all of a sudden last second decide to make a switch, and you're even seeing some of these guys pointing them in that direction, while other guys, oh, this is why, because they're not getting up the hill. It looks kind of easy right here. And again, this is another one of those hills we keep saying, and one of those situations where we keep saying this is much worse than it looks on video. But I think even looking at this, we can tell that there is some pretty steep terrain right there. The rocks, slick rocks, and that with the rain falling down on it.
Well, it's steep, it's hard pack, and then there's this loose dirt on top of it, so there's really not any traction on that at all. Now combine that with the fact that now those rocks are now wet, making it even slipperier, and the hard pack is wet. So, but the spectators and the mud fleas there doing a great job of getting that hill clear, because I think within the next couple minutes we're going to see our leaders approaching this section, and those guys obviously will motor right up it. But you know, with guys like this, he's going to give it a shot. He's got the same opportunity as anybody else, and then decides that maybe it's not for him.
He figured that out, I think, just in time, if truth be known to that, as we check in a little further down the track right now, looking at the way things are going. Last check, again, Jordan Ashburn was being tailed by, well, Caleb Russell, who was several seconds back at that point, as Ashburn seems to be riding in a groove on a rail out here of his own here today. Great. Good to see this glimpse of greatness out of this youngster, and that's what I was talking with him about in the pre-race interviews this morning on Pro Row. I was talking with him about it. I said, you know, not really seeing any real true glimpses of greatness out of you, but you've been very solid and consistent this year. And he said something about, yeah, but I'd really like to change that, you know, kind of an answer. And look, lo and behold, man, maybe I shook him loose, something loose in there with him this morning, got him thinking, and maybe everything just fell into place all at the same time for him.
Absolutely. You know, he made an excellent charge here early in this race, you know, coming from outside the top 5, and I think, as we mentioned, we even saw him go down early in the first couple turns, and you know, now to be up there leading this one and really pushing, you know, it's certainly a good start to the day for him, and if he can keep that momentum and that confidence going throughout the day, no reason why we couldn't possibly see a first-time winner here today.
That would be amazing. There's no doubt about it. I know I'm pretty excited. I keep talking about the winds of change. It's windy up here, man. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They got these big fans up here that they turn on and just make it. Actually, it's the windmills. I call it a wind farm, but I've been having fun with that, telling them to turn the fans off maybe. But that's one thing that we've always had here is wind. And to me, you know, it's kind of neat to think, you know, at this point in the season and all the things that could possibly be going on, you know, why not call this the winds of change here? Because, you know, I mean, really this event is kind of a change in itself anyway, because originally not on the schedule. It took a while to nail it down that we would be able to get it on the schedule, and once we did, you know, there were some changes. As first we were going to go someplace else, and then kind of made the change to come here. So that's a change. It's windy up here. We're seeing these battles for the second place position in the overalls. Those winds have changed. Yesterday's battle with Walker Fowler, man, a lot of things. A very historical return here to this Mountain Ridge GNCC.
Yeah, you know, this place offers a lot of excitement. The terrain, you know, the history of it, obviously just the ambience of kind of where we're at and what has happened around us and the hills surrounding us over the years. You know, the uniqueness of the fact that we're essentially smack dab in the middle of a wind farm. And from talking to some people here in the past, I don't know if it still is, but the last time we were here in 2011, they said this was one of the largest conglomerations of windmills on the East Coast, right along this ridge that runs all the way down to Maryland. So,
wow.
You know, again, the winds have changed and the winds are blowing, and they've brought some rain with them. They've dried it out and made it dusty yesterday, but now it's the slick conditions that we're dealing with.
All right, Jenny on the spot's got an update. What's going on, Jim Kenyon?
That's right, guys. Well, you know, you're talking about all the wind, but you're locked in that really nice trailer over there. So I just wanted to show you how windy it is. If I put my umbrella like this, I could probably fly away, but I don't want to do that. It did stop raining. It was raining pretty hard, but luckily for us, it stopped. I don't know if these racers are noticing any difference as far as themselves on the track, but I do know that it's pretty slick. These rocks out here, you can tell they're getting into that dusty powder, but it's definitely slick on top, so that could cause a little bit of trouble out there for them.
Yes, most definitely. Jen, thanks a lot. And you can tell she's trying to be Mary Poppins out there. It would be funny if a big wind gust came and picked her up and moved her over a couple of feet. That would have been really neat. So right now we return back out to the trail. Honestly, Johnny, now that the rains have slowed down, I think it will be better for the track. It's just that initial few moments right after and during the rain where the track is really kind of gnarlier and nastier, but once we churn some of that drier stuff up with that wet stuff, actually be a big blessing to these riders out there today.
Yeah, you know, and what you're going to see is with the amount, a substantial amount in a short amount of time, it doesn't really have the opportunity to soak in because these guys are churning it up right away. So up like we see right there in front of us. Then we've also got, you know, these sections where the water is kind of sitting on top of the slick hard pack like what we see here. So if anything, as of right now, what it's doing is it's kind of making the track a little bit one-lined. So I think as these guys get a little bit more aggressive with their passing opportunities, they're probably going to open up some more lines, and that's when we're really going to see things get exciting, you know, maybe just a little bit further into this race if we don't get any more rain. But that's a big if. You know, we didn't expect to be getting any more than what we got this morning, and yet we still have found that not to be correct.
All right, we're about 2 minutes out from the finish of lap number 2. Jordan Ashburn and Caleb Russell running 1 and 2, mixing it up back there in the number 3 spot. The big question is, who you think's going to win? Well, find out. We want to find out what you're thinking. We asked you to join our Twitter contest today, and you hashtag your podium predictions with GNCC Live. And whenever you tweet that out, of course, they'll all go into one little area there, and we'll be able to trend those, and we'll be able to pick from someone and give them $250 in AMSOIL products. Winners will be chosen randomly. You don't even have to get it right. We just want to know who you're pulling for, who you think is going to be able to pull it off today. And again, tweet it out and hashtag GNCC Live.
Yeah, you know, it's a great opportunity for some people at home to get involved. Also, you know, following along on the race while they're watching GNCC Live, they can hashtag GNCC Live and win some free stuff. You can't beat that. That's a win-win and another win.
No doubt. And anybody that's ever used the AMSOIL product knows how great a product it is. They are first in synthetics, by the way, for a reason. And I'm not just saying that because I pay for the product full retail just like everybody else that comes here. Well, I get a good special dealer pricing because I come out here, we have special pricing at the racetrack. But I pay what everybody else pays, and I love the stuff, no doubt about it. Wow, there's Ashburn at the FMF PowerPoint. He's now at that 9-mile marker, Johnny. Look, he doesn't look like he's slowed down any. He's on a, I don't know, I wouldn't know if it's a mission or not, but he is certainly on a fun ride right now. He is having a blast. Now, Caleb Russell should be rounding the corner here pretty soon. They're trying to send some mud fleas, and fans are trying to send some of that lap traffic around the corner, it looks like, or at least some of the slower guys to keep from congesting the hill. But look at this. We're looking at about a 15-second gap back to the number 1 of Caleb Russell right now, and even Caleb Russell struggled a little bit getting up that hill.
You know, and what we see is that lapper was stopped there near the top of that hill, so Caleb had to not only navigate the hill, but he had to work his way between the trees and that lapper that they were continuing to help push up.
Was that Strang right behind Russell going up that?
I believe that was Josh Strang that worked his way up right behind Caleb Russell. So Caleb, he's latched onto the Caleb Russell Express, and those guys are going to the front. So
change,
you know, he appears to have made up a little bit of time on Ashburn, but not as much as maybe I would have expected. You know, Caleb's kind of known for putting that speed to work early and getting himself up there, but Jordan Ashburn today is saying, man, I'm going to keep this lead for as long as I can, and if I can, I'm going to keep it all the way to the finish.
Man, can you imagine the attitude under the NFAB and Pro Yamaha tents? How much excitement there will be under those tents out there. Here they come toward the finish line right now, and it is Jordan Ashburn will get an official time deficit coming up here in a moment, but this kid is at the moment in the early part in the first hour of this race, riding the dreams, riding the ride that dreams are made of as he rounds the AMSOIL chicanes to that finish line region here at our CarMate Custom Built Trailers Mountain Ridge GNCC, lap number 2 in the history books. Lap 1 off the start was a 25:12, a 26:35 that time, and that makes quite a bit of sense as he stops for a quick goggle change, and that's all he's going to get right there.
He also did get some paper towels on his grips there, if you notice quickly. So what that tells me is that, you know, these guys are maybe having a little bit of a hard time hanging on after that hard rain we got. Notice Caleb Russell does not have goggles on, and he does point right there at his crew and his wife and say, hey guys, you know, I could use some of those goggles. So we'll see if they take note of that and go ahead and grab him a pair. Looks like they're, you know, going to run over there and try and get him some so that he can get back on the charge. And
guys, it doesn't look like they're going to give Caleb Russell goggles. They're going the opposite way, but what we didn't see on the screen is that Josh Strang stopped just before the finish line and he got goggles. So Caleb Russell's back into the woods without any goggles.
Uh-oh. Well, they are going to be heading to the pits here fairly soon, about 2-3 miles out. So that is one blessing for Caleb Russell, but hopefully somebody's going to be there to give him. I'm sure there will be. They've got team members all over the place right now. But Ashburn, look at this, Johnny, a 27-second lead. I said 15 seconds, and I thought that I was afraid that I might be a little off there, but I didn't realize I was that much off, man. Jordy has really, like I said, riding the ride the dreams are made of right now, and Caleb Russell is feeling that pressure. I think Josh Strang has got a birth of energy in him right now. There's Paul Whibley coming in now. He's running was running and still running, I believe, in that number 4 spot, or is he? Yeah, trying to get some lap traffic himself. He was only about 8 seconds out of a top 3 position there a little bit ago, and now he is almost a minute, call it 59.7 seconds behind Josh Strang in that 3rd place position, a 28:05 lap time. So lap times 26:35 for Jordan Ashburn, a 26:38 for Caleb Russell, Josh Strang a 27:03, but remember he did stop for goggles just prior to the finish. Also Paul Whibley in for 4th. Chris Bach has muscled his way in to the number 5 spot. What an animal, as he's only 1.6 seconds behind Paul Whibley. We are now 54 minutes into this near 3-hour race at the Mountain Ridge GNCC. We'll be back with more of GNCC Live after this.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best. The best. You have to have the best equipment under the hood. That's why I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
Sometimes you come across something so different, you just have to stop and check it out. The Rocky Mountain ATV MC website has everything you need, from our huge selection of tires, ATV and UTV accessories, and OEM parts, to our online chat, customer reviews, and instructional videos. Our extensive inventory means most orders arrive in 3 days or less. Get low prices, quick shipping, and incredible customer service. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Your coolant. One of the most important things is almost always overlooked. Evans coolant is the first coolant to be 100% waterless. What does this mean? It means a higher boiling point to keep your bike running cooler. No hot spots, corrosion, or buildup on your engine to eliminate excess wear and tear, to save you money, and to make your engine run longer at peak performance. For more information, visit our new website, evanschooling.com.
Check out ARC's new unbreakable Memlon levers. Composite levers that weigh 45% less than aluminum and can never break. ARC levers are on the factory KTM, Husqvarna, Kawasaki, Honda, Yamaha, and Beta race bikes. Check them out at arclevers.com.
Motocross, for me, has never been about the fame and
Neat about those windmills. We talk about trophies. We like to get unique trophies, and they've been getting very creative. Walker Fowler's podium or finish trophy, first place finish trophy yesterday was pretty neat. Had a skyline with those windmills on it and everything. Just a really, really neat and unique trophy, I believe.
Yeah, you know, I did get to see a picture of it on Instagram. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it in person. We do see Jordan Ashburn checking in. He is our leader as he works his way across. Man, can you imagine how slick that bridge must be with that rain we got, Rodney?
Wow.
Things are really going to be interesting as those guys have to go ahead and work their way across that if we get any more rain. But this is about the 2.5 mile marker approaching the pro pits. Caleb has definitely made up some time.
Yes.
So he does not have goggles on, but again, they're at the 2.5. The pro pits are at the 3 mile marker, which means in about a half mile here, he's going to have an opportunity to get himself some fresh goggles. Josh Strang, again, worked his way back up and is back in the draft of Caleb Russell. Next, we'll be waiting on that battle of Paul Whibley, Chris Bach, and when we go ahead and look, we see on corrected time, Grant Baylor has moved into that number 4 position in the overall.
Right behind him, though.
Our XC2 leader. So, and he is physically right on Chris Bach's rear tire. So those guys are pushing themselves as well. And Trevor Bollinger into the 5th spot overall, although just on a couple of seconds ahead of Paul Whibley and Chris Bach. So those guys are definitely working their way through the pack pretty quickly, and they've obviously put the hammer down in that XC2 class. Again, Grant Baylor wants to go ahead and get this win, take that one step closer to wrapping up that 2014 XC2 championship, and Trevor Bollinger doesn't want to let that happen.
Nope, he wants to make him fight for it, that's for sure. As dude, I just looked at do you have 214 missed calls on your telephone?
No, 124.
124, okay, you have 124 missed calls? Wow, you're a popular person. But Mr. Popularity here, I tell you, over in the pits now, buddy. I mean,
here we see Caleb Russell.
Yeah, this is where Caleb really gets his opportunity to get those goggles and really start making up some ground. And we're going to see what's going on there, whether the dream ride will continue for Jordan Ashburn, or whether he's going to have to be taken to school by his good buddy there, Mr. Caleb Russell.
Hey guys, this is Jen. I'm going to chime in for just a second. As Caleb Russell was coming through Pro Row, he was squinting. He definitely had a lot of mud in his eyes, so I'm sure he's going to be really pumped to put those goggles over his eyes for this next lap.
Oh, wow. If he's squinting, hopefully that doesn't indicate that he might already have something in his eye, and if that would be the case, it could be a little bit of a hindrance for him. But the way he's riding right now, Johnny, I don't expect that's the case.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, these guys are used to that. I mean, we've all ridden without goggles. It's not something you like to do, but occasionally you have to. So Caleb, I'm sure, no doubt, with the dust that's there and the rain that we've had, you know, he's got some debris in his eyes and probably not the ideal situation. But now that he does have those goggles on, I can tell you from experience what will happen is those tear ducts will work overdrive. They'll clean his eyes out, and within a short order of time here, he'll be feeling much better and back, you know, charging. I did notice as we were watching there, Josh Strang actually took over the number 2 spot. He made a pass on Caleb Russell while Caleb was getting those fresh goggles. So yeah. We do have another change up there at front, and although Jordan Ashburn continues to lead, it is now Josh Strang, his teammate there at that MFAB Yamaha team that is in the number 2 spot.
Whether or not it was strategy or just pure luck by making that switch. Here's Grant Baylor into the pits now as this young man goes for a new set of goggles. Currently 4th overall. If we look at elapsed time when they checked in, he was 9 seconds out of a podium position finish on adjusted time behind Josh Strang. Lap times, by the way, 26:35 again for Ashburn, 26:38 for Russell on lap 2, 27:03 for Josh Strang. Grant Baylor turned a 27:06, and Bollinger, get this, 5th place overall, turned a 27:36 lap time. He's 49 seconds behind Grant Baylor and is still 5th place overall. So that means that though Paul Whibley is still running 4th in class, there's a pretty big gap there, 59-second gap, as a matter of fact. So these front 3 or 4 of the front 3 elite today, call them Ashburn, Russell, and Strang, are really starting to stretch things out there.
Yeah, you know, those guys are pulling that comfortable gap up front. They're doing the best they can to get away. And, again, we did see when Grant Baylor came in, he was goggleless as well. There's Trevor Bollinger, no goggles. So these guys certainly really testing out their optics today. You know, they're doing everything they can to try and keep those on, to keep their vision clear. But they have been able to – I did notice when Grant came in, he used his glove to wipe his eyes before he put those fresh goggles on. So that was one step he took to go ahead and try and clear his eyes of any debris he may have accumulated over the last couple miles of riding without goggles. He had, as we noted, passed physically Chris Bach and Paul Whibley, so I'm sure those guys didn't exactly pull over and let him by. Probably a lot of roost coming his way. He wanted to clear everything that he could out of his eyes before he went ahead and got those fresh goggles.
Well, we see TAKESHI KOIKEDA's wife and daughter, his pit crew there standing by, former JNCC champion there. And, of course, earlier today, we were talking about how dusty and stuff it was here at the GNCC. This morning's 10 o'clock race, pretty good indication of that. We got to see a great battle, though. Awesome to see in that women's class. The WXC not only had a great battle class-wise, but overall. There were 4 ladies that were virtually racing somewhat wheel to wheel, especially 2nd through 4th. I know Sarah Baldwin was just really on fire today. She was a lady on a mission, and she accomplished that pretty intense stuff, no doubt about it. And of course, Jen Kenyon had a chance to catch up with Sarah after today's race.
All right, a lot of times, guys, our women's riders are the fastest ones out there. And today, Sarah Baldwin, you were the fastest rider in the 10 a.m. morning class. Not only the overall win, but you got the WXC win as well. How are you feeling after that one?
I'm extremely stoked. You know, I've known that this was coming for a long time. And, you know, it's great to finally be able to put it all together and come out with the win.
Yeah, for sure. Now you've got a whole new team, a whole new getup. You're riding this KTM machine. Doesn't sound like you have a lot of time on it, but you've been really killing it on this bike. You must be feeling good.
Yeah, you know, there's so much power. It's just like, it just kills. Like, I have the biggest advantage out of everybody with the bikes, and that's helping me a lot, I guess, yeah.
So talk about the track a little bit. It started downpouring. I don't know if you guys realized it as much as we did up here, but it started raining a little bit. Did that help conditions out any?
I thought it was perfect. I love that dry slick, and, you know, we didn't run into that many lappers, you know, comparatively. I guess New York made it seem like this was nothing. And once it started raining, I lost the goggles, and I was having issues trying to, you know, see and not get all the mud and dust in my eyes. So I think the rain made it a little worse, actually.
Did it? Well, it didn't seem to faze you at all. Congratulations on a big win here today.
Thank you.
Wow, what a great race today for Sarah. I saw her this morning down on the youth start. Believe it or not, you know, I seen her. She looked like she was getting a little ill over there, and she said, "Yeah, I've been having some stomach problems for several months." She said, "I said, you sure it's not nerves?" And she says, "Well, it could be a little bit." She says, "But it happens all the time." So I don't know what got into this girl, but man, she has really come to life here in the 2014 season. So congratulations to Sarah. She had some stiff competition out of Casey Martinez and Cosner girls, and well, even Becca Sheets put together a good run. Vance Earl came in trying to battle back from the from the super senior classes out there, and pretty good stuff, to say the least. An hour and 5.5 minutes into this race right now, and we are about 13 minutes out from lap number 3 complete, Johnny Gallagher, and we're watching the finish line region here on RacerTV, and just watching the riders check in. You can see a little bit of mud on the accumulating on the plates. There's comes Phil Smith, the Open A class rider. And also, Johnny, we were
top 4 overall.
Go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, Rodney, you were mentioning that those women riders really put in a good ride this morning, and they have won some overalls in the past, but unless I am mistaken, that is the first time that they swept our overall podium for the morning race.
At least for a long time anyway.
Yeah, and I'm pretty actually certain that has never happened before. On the bike side, on the ATV side, it has happened years ago with Tracy Checo-Pickens and Angel Atwell and Stephanie Parton and those girls. But on the bike side of things, there's several hundred riders out there this morning. Maybe 40 or 50 of those women, the rest all men, and young guys coming up through the ranks, and older guys that are in the age classes, and some former pro riders, some former A riders, and actually the top 4 overall were 4 riders from the WXC class, with Sarah Baldwin taking the win. It was Casey Martinez, who has wrapped up the championship already, who did finish second, and then it was a wheel-to-wheel battle with Casey Martinez, Brooke Cosner, and Becca Sheets coming across the finish line, and that was pretty impressive to see. Those girls obviously through the inclement conditions,
with change,
all the rocks, all the dust, and then the rain that came down on top of it. To see guys like Rick Madison, who's won the overall number 201 many times, was a top finisher, but it was 4 girls that were the first 4 across the finish line.
It was pretty impressive, to say the least, and good to see the women's class back into that kind of mode and the kind of competition we have. We also started the day out actually with the youth motorcycles, the boys and the girls out there at 8 o'clock this morning. That was another good race. We opened up the day to a beautiful sunshiny day, and I'm telling you, man, it was another one of those barn burners right down to the end of it, as far as really not knowing what's going to happen because of the unknown variables. And again, Jen Kenyon got the chance to catch up with another one of our winners.
So these youth riders are some of the toughest guys out there. They actually have to take the track first before all the pros out here at 8 a.m. in the morning. And today, Cole Madison, once again, you're the guy that came out on top. Tell us about the day out there. It looked a little bit dusty.
Oh yeah, definitely. Got off to a pretty good start. I was like 4th, but I think I went into the woods 3rd, and then made a pass on Sam. And after that, I got behind Connor. I rode behind him for a while, and he realized it was me, so he kind of pulled over and let me go. So big thanks to him. And then started out just trying to get a good lead, and about the second lap, I had a pretty decent lead. And then I noticed that my bike started bogging, and it just got worse as the race went on. I think right before the 2-lap board, or right at the 2-lap board, my grandpa jerked my airbox cover off because I'd have to rev it up so it wouldn't shut off. And the airbox, or the air filter, was just covered in dirt. So I just had to ride it to the finish and hope nothing broke, or hope it would make it.
Man, so I was talking to you just before this, and you were saying that the 65s were going up the hills, and they were actually like outpowering you. What does that feel like when you're like, hey, I know I can go faster than this, but my bike just won't let me?
Yeah, I would come up some of them big uphills, and I was just giving it all it had, and they'd be going the same speed as me, and it was pretty frustrating, to say the least.
Yeah, but you can add this condition just under your belt, one more different adversity that you can overcome. Another win here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow, another one of those up-and-comers. You know, I think that we're getting a glimpse of what some of the future may hold. And Cole has just been an amazing rider over his tenure of this 2014 season, seemingly untouchable at times, it seems like, out there.
Yeah, you know, last year I think he had a couple of overalls. I remember he was battling with some other riders, and this year he's really just kind of turned it up and has kind of owned 2014 so far for sure. And it's always good to get to see his interviews. His interview skills are coming along nicely, and you know he's getting himself ready for when he moves up to the big boys and that XC2 and XC1 class for those podium interviews. And you know, I actually was out walking a little bit of the track earlier this morning and have an opportunity to see him come by, and he's very fluid, smooth rider. You know, a lot of times when you see young riders, they're aggressive, but they're kind of a little bit of misplaced aggression at times, and you see him bouncing off things. And I was really impressed with Cole's his bike skills and the way he just kind of flowed with the track and let it all happen. And he was really moving out there.
Yeah, and it's like these guys. I mean, these kids, and we see it also through the ranks. We watched Caleb Russell when he was in the youth ranks. Thad Duvall. I mean, all these kids. Charlie Mullins. I mean, it's just like something happens out there, and all of a sudden it becomes they become literally entwined with their bike. They become one. It's just like an extension of their body, basically, and it just seems like everything just falls into place for them, and nothing seems to go wrong, even though it does. I mean, those guys pick themselves up and crash a lot, even though we don't see it and don't know it often, but still, the fluidness that these guys present through the different kind of conditions that they have to race is just utterly amazing.
Yeah, you know, these young men are out there, young men and women out there, you know, really putting their hearts into it and setting themselves up for, you know, future endeavors in racing and life. You know, it's I've always said racing as a whole is a great teacher of life lessons. You know, it teaches you to keep pushing and you know, make the best of a bad situation, because sometimes on a day when you know, things have all gone awry, you know, we all just kind of want to throw in the towel. And when it starts raining like it is right now on camera, sometimes you want to just say, man, this isn't for me. But ultimately in racing and in life, it's the person that, you know, really keeps pushing themselves and puts their best foot forward day in and day out that ultimately reaps the benefits at the end.
Insult to injury, so to speak. 6 minutes, 20 seconds or so before we'll be seeing our lead riders make their way back near the finish line. That puts them about 4 minutes away from the FMF power point near the 9-mile marker. Well, right now, while we wait here at the FMF power point for our leaders to make their way in, Jordan Ashburn leading Josh Strang at last check with Caleb Russell in the number 3 spot. It was Paul Whibley 4th in class and Chris Bach 5th in class, but overall Grant Baylor and Trevor Bollinger running 4th and 5th on the XC2 Pro Lights. We'll see how it's all starting to pan out and sort out as GNCC Live continues after this.
Your coolant. One of the most important things is almost always overlooked. Evans coolant is the first coolant to be 100% waterless. What does this mean? It means a higher boiling point to keep your bike running cooler. No hot spots, corrosion, or buildup on your engine to eliminate excess wear and tear, to save you money, and to make your engine run longer at peak performance. For more information, visit our new website, evanschooling.com.
Check out ARC's new unbreakable Memlon levers. Composite levers that weigh 45% less than aluminum and can never break. ARC levers are on the factory KTM, Husqvarna, Kawasaki, Honda, Yamaha, and Beta race bikes. Check them out at arclevers.com. The top racers choose the Sunstar Work Z stainless steel rear sprocket. Featuring an offset tooth designed for self-cleaning, it's up to 40% lighter and 3 times more durable than standard steel. Teamed with the Power Drive countershaft sprocket and Works triple guard sealed ring chain, you've got unbeatable performance and durability. Sunstar drives Ryan Sipes, Thad Duvall, Adam McGill, Jared McClure, and many others. Watch for them on the podium all year long.
Do you love racing? All kinds of racing? How about pro motocross, flat track, road race, ATV, GNCC, Supermoto, Enduro Cross? Well, we've got what you're looking for. Welcome to the Racer X Show with Greg White, presented by Chaparral Motorsports. New every Tuesday on RacerTV.com.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin along with Johnny Gallagher and Janny on the spot, as I like to call her. Jen Kenyon out there, out and about, giving us the updates and getting the scoops on what's going on down and around the GNCC Pro Rows, the VP Fuels Pro Row. Right now as we return, Jordan Ashburn, Josh Strang, Caleb Russell again at last check. We also just got a radio report that Thad Duvall actually found himself with some problems out on the track, a blown shock.
Yeah, you know, that's really unfortunate for Thad. You know, I'd gone ahead earlier and said that I felt like these conditions really favored him. It's a lot like, you know, the conditions that he rides near home. He really does well on the rocks.
Right.
We've seen him nearly win snowshoe. We've seen him win Kentucky in the mud and the rocks last year. You know, he rides really, really well in these conditions, and it's unfortunate for him. We had a radio report that he's having some shock issues, so maybe we can get some more information on that at some point. But unfortunate for him, and it's something that we've seen with him before. So, you know, obviously I'm sure that Bad Chad and Thad and the crew will go back and work on that. You know, he's had some rear shock issues at least 2 or 3 times that I know of last year, where they actually came in and made the change. You know, actually put a different shock on and went back out and tried to salvage some points. So not sure if he'll do that today here or not, but we'll find out. We'll find out here real soon when he makes it back to the VP Fuels Pro Row.
Well, you know, unfortunately, though, Thad isn't going to obviously have as good a result as he had hoped. I know that Jen Kenyon did have a chance to speak with him earlier this morning and the Racer TV crew, and I'm kind of interested to see what his mindset was coming into this. So let's see what Thad had to say coming into this Mountain Ridge GNCC.
Yeah, so at Unadilla, I came away with 2nd overall. Weeks leading up into the race, I decided to race a 450 at a local race, and actually really liked it. So we came back, and me and Dad got to talking. I told him, hey, you know, I really want to race this thing the rest of the year, and so we got it ready, and it paid off. I felt a little bit more comfortable on the 450. We did a lot of testing over the summer. The reason I rode the 250 earlier in the year just because I wasn't that comfortable on the 450. Just had to work out a few bugs on it, but you know, we worked hard over the summer and got them worked out, and chose to ride the 450, and I'm glad I did. You know, I put on a pretty good ride. I felt like I haven't rode that good in quite a while, so it was good. And you know, we're back on the 450 here at Somerset, so looking forward to it. We rode a little rocks this week on a 450, so I think we got it dialed in and ready to rock and roll, and hopefully put it on the podium in the middle of the box this weekend.
Wow, man, what a heartbreaker there, ready to go and everything dialed in. That's what he was telling me this morning in the pre-race report, to have that little mishap, that little miscue with the blown shock. So not sure here at the FMF PowerPoint, we should be getting close. Actually, they should have checked in. We have 2 leaders that have come by here at the FMF PowerPoint, and they are late actually heading to the finish line. So we should be seeing the leaders check in momentarily at the finish line itself. An hour and 18 minutes into this. And Johnny, it's kind of expected to see with the way the track's been getting slick and then perfecting up and then getting slick again with the way the rain's been falling and everything. It's kind of, I guess, expected to see this variance in the lap times like this. Last time around, 26:35 flat basically was the fast lap time.
Yeah, and there we see a rider having a problem at the bottom of the FMF PowerPoint. And that's not even the hill yet. That's just the turn to get to the hill. And certainly, as we talked about earlier in the show when Barry gave us that track description, you know, not only the PowerPoint, but there's a million different places throughout this track that are certainly factoring into the varying lap times.
Wow.
Jordan Ashburn working his way through these chicanes as he approaches the finish line to lead his now 3rd lap of this Mountain Ridge GNCC.
This is some pretty crazy stuff. We are about an hour and 20 minutes into this. I would call it someplace near the halfway point of this race. If you want my opinion about it, I would think We're probably going at this point probably 6, maybe 7 laps. And look at this, Caleb Russell's closed that gap up now 6 seconds from 27 seconds a lap ago.
Yeah, and that was with that stop for goggles.
And dropping back to 30.
Yeah, and having to repass Josh Strang for that that number 2 spot. So Caleb Russell on the gas again, and we've seen this so many times this year and over the past several seasons from Caleb. You know, when he's pushed and he's put against the ropes, he digs deep, drops the hammer, and does all that he can do to make it happen. But you know, still the guy leading the way right now is Jordan Ashburn, and making it look relatively easy. He's just so smooth, and you know, carries his momentum well, and you know, again, those long legs can't be hurting him in these slick conditions.
No doubt. And as we continue to watch this finish line region, by the way, lap time 27:44 from that 26-minute lap time. So well over a minute difference from lap 2 to lap 3. Even Caleb Russell saw a huge difference, but his lap time that time was 20 seconds faster than Ashburn. 27:24 for him. 27:20, Josh Strang even faster as he rides 7.5 seconds even behind Caleb Russell in the number 3 spot. And now we wait to see where Grant Baylor is. Last check, I believe, didn't you say he was physically right behind Chris Bach? That could be a good power lift for Chris Bach, quite possibly. There is Baylor has checked in. He is, I believe, now physically 4th on the racetrack.
And Andrew DeLong has latched onto his rear wheel there.
Yeah, so Baylor is 4th physically and on adjusted time right now. And like you said, Andrew DeLong, who is XC2 Pro Lights 4th place and the rookie in that class, running 5th place overall. So Bollinger at 49 seconds back a lap ago. Things are really starting to change. And wow, wasn't Whibley actually 59 seconds behind? And yeah, I guess that makes sense. So a minute and 16 seconds out of 3rd place is Andrew DeLong. And I don't even think we've seen Whibley go by yet for that 3rd lap.
We haven't seen Whibley or Bach yet. So DeLong really put in a charge that lap to move himself from outside the top 5 all the way up to that 4th place in XC1, and you know, physically 5th overall, right behind the XC2 points leader and class leader Grant Baylor.
Pretty amazing as now we got more riders checking in. We see Chris Bach has checked in now with the 6th place position, 57 seconds behind Andrew DeLong now. Still no sign of Trevor Bollinger, who was running 2nd place in the XC2 Pro Lights. He rides the number 18 machinist. We'll be keeping an eye on that rider. And now Paul Whibley aboard the number 5 and 7. And Bollinger still hasn't checked in, so we'll be keeping an eye on him. Actually, in the XC1 Pro class, Thad Duvall would be your expected next check-in as far as riders are concerned in that class. But blown shock, I believe, is going to prevent that from happening from the radio reports we got from Barry Hawk there just moments ago.
And there we see Trevor Bollinger now working his way through the finish line chicane, so that's our 2nd XC2 rider. He does have some goggles on this time as he pulls a tear off, we see. So certainly a little bit of an improvement over last lap for him. You know, these guys, they've gone through a lot this lap. They've a lot of them stopped for goggles, and all of them have endured this rain and the dust, and things have really been getting exciting for us this lap.
2 minutes between the 1st and 2nd places now in the XC2 Pro Lights, Grant Baylor and Trevor Bollinger. Baylor running 4th place overall after time adjustments. Baylor back in the number 7 spot. And who's this coming?
Jason Thomas working his way in, so that'd be our...
I think that's going to round out our top 10 overall, actually, Johnny Gallagher. And that puts him in 8th place in the XC1 Pro class with an hour and now 23 minutes and 45 seconds elapsed into this Mountain Ridge GNCC. We'll be back with more GNCC Live after this.
Any engine, any season, at home, at the track, or on the trail. AMSOIL for any engine.
Your coolant. One of the most important things is almost always overlooked. Evans coolant is the first coolant to be 100% waterless. What does this mean? It means a higher boiling point to keep your bike running cooler. No hot spots, corrosion, or buildup on your engine to eliminate excess wear and tear, to save you money, and to make your engine run longer at peak performance. For more information, visit our new website, evanscooling.com.
Check out ARC's new unbreakable Memlon levers. Composite levers that weigh 45% less than aluminum and can never break. ARC levers are on the factory KTM, Husqvarna, Kawasaki, Honda, Yamaha, and Beta race bikes. Check them out at arclevers.com. The top racers choose the Sunstar Work Z stainless steel rear sprocket. Featuring an offset tooth designed for self-cleaning, it's up to 40% lighter and 3 times more durable than standard steel. Teamed with the Power Drive countershaft sprocket and Works triple guard sealed ring chain, you've got unbeatable performance and durability. Sunstar drives Ryan Sipes, Thad Duvall, Adam McGill, Jared McClure, and many others. Watch for them on the podium all year long. They're the best off-road riders in the world, and they're coming your way every day on RacerTV.com. Check out all the action from the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Maxxis and AMA National Championship. With live race coverage every week and weekend wrap-up shows, RacerTV has everything you need to know about the fastest riders in the woods. It's all on RacerTV. All racing, all the time.
Motocross, for me, has never been about the fame or, the money. I mean, it's always been about having fun on my dirt bike. First time I ever got on a dirt bike, it was like the gnarliest adrenaline rush that I'd ever experienced, and I wanted to keep doing it. There's so many different emotions and feelings that go into riding that I can't even explain to someone that's never been on a dirt bike. I mean, it's something that you really have to experience to understand.
And we're back here at Mountain Ridge, and we're in the pits. And look at this. We got Jordan Ashburn into the pits. It looks
Josh Strang, actually.
Oh, is that Josh? Oh, wow. Eddie Ray down there helping a fellow NFAB and Pro Yamaha rider from that Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com team. So Josh Strang in. We missed the leader, it looks like, or the leaders of Ashburn and Russell. And I know Jen Kenyon roving around the pits. She'll have a pretty good update for us coming up here in just a moment. And right now we see that it is Ashburn, Russell, Strang last time through. Andrew DeLong was running in the number 4 spot in the XC1 Pro class with Chris Bach in 5th. Overall, though, Grant Baylor running 4th, Andrew DeLong in 5th, and Chris Bach back in the number 6 spot. As far as Baylor, how far is he out of the 3rd place position right now? A full cool 20 seconds, it looks like. An hour, 19 minutes, 46 seconds elapsed time for Josh Strang when he checked in at the end of 3. An hour and 20 minutes and 6 seconds for Grant Baylor. Lap times 27:20 for Josh Strang. Grant Baylor turning at 27:31. So it looks like that right now Josh Strang has it dialed in to still be able to hold on to that podium position finish on lap times and so forth. But Baylor likes to make those last or late race charges and is noted for that. And if you remember, Johnny, just back in June down at the John Penton GNCC, we saw him nearly do that and put together a heck of a great push there, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the same thing happen here today.
Yeah, he put that late push in there at the Penton, ending up in the overall podium, and also did the same at Georgia earlier in the year on the overall podium there as well. So, he certainly is capable of it, and wouldn't be surprised if we see him continue to do so for the remainder of this season. And I would assume, based on the fact that he won the XC2 championship last year and is defending it this year, that ultimately his plans are to go ahead and move up to that XC1 class next year. So why not try and get the experience racing the guys now? And, with that little bit of a advantage, I guess, if you will, starting a minute behind them. And, maybe if he can push himself early. We've seen riders in the past do it on the ATV side of things. Brian Wolf and Walker Fowler, it has not been done on the bike side. Very close, 2 seconds, I believe, at Snowshoe one year with Thad Duvall. But, you know, who knows? Today could be the day we see it for the first time on two wheels.
Looks like
Hey, guys, Jen down here in the pits, I'm going to give you guys a quick update. Not sure if we saw those top 3 leaders come through on the cameras, but what happened is Jordan Ashburn pulled into the pits. Caleb Russell blew by him, but then he stopped and pitted, and it sounds like Jordan Ashburn actually got back and going before Caleb. Josh Strang also stopped in the pits. It looked like he spent a little extra time there. He also got a little bit of gas spilled on his lap area, so I know he's probably on fire literally as he's heading back out there, but the 3 of them were flying.
Wow, that's Whibley pulling into the pits. That was the number 3 of Chris Bach rounding the corner, and Whibley's mechanic actually got a little excited, anticipated him right there, because actually Whibley was just a few moments ago actually ahead of Bach, but that whole situation and scenario has changed now. It looks like Bach's a man on a mission himself right now in the JCR Honda.
Yeah, you know, Chris certainly in hunt of a podium. He was so close 2 weeks ago in Unadilla, so you got to imagine he's really given it his all. We saw Ryan Sipes just work his way through the XC1 Pro pits there, the motocrosser turned GNCC star who you know, went back and then moonlighted as a motocrosser again. Now we see Trevor Bollinger on the number 18 Honda. As he comes through, again, it looks like maybe no goggles again. I couldn't really tell from our shot there, but yeah, these guys are just ripping through goggles as they work their way through lappers and with all the moisture that's accumulated on the ground.
You said Josh Strang, is he back up? Is he right there with Caleb again, or is he ahead of Caleb? How that's all panning out right now?
I didn't actually see that when we cut to the shot. It looked like, oh, Josh Strang working his way back into the pits and retiring his Yamaha for the day. It looks like he is injured or something is wrong.
Something's not right.
He's given the bike to his mechanic there, Eddie Ray, and he had a look of grimace on his face. So
he actually circled back around. So something's happened since that pit stop right there. And wow, that's not good news. Hopefully Jen Kenyon can get an update on that. I know it's going to take a couple of moments, but still heartbreaking news there for Josh Strang, another one of our riders who was had high hopes and actually had good things going on there just moments ago.
You know, Rodney, I hate to speculate here, but Josh had his pants undone, and I'm not trying to assume things, but it appeared as though possibly he was having, you know, some discomfort somewhere within there. And
yeah, guys, I'm going to cut in right now. It's exactly what I said before, where he had some gas poured on his lap area, and I think it's a little bit worse than we thought it was. That's my assumption at this point.
That makes a lot of sense, too. I kind of thought it was I thought 2 things, either a shot to the groin of some sorts or possibly some gas splashing on his lap. And as quickly as he headed back to the motorhome back there, I think it was probably, I would go with the gas statement also, because it looked to me like he might be heading for a shower real quick.
That's, you know, I've been through that before, and it's quite painful, and people don't realize, you know, gas is obviously not something that's meant to come in contact with your skin in sensitive areas. So
yeah,
you know, we'll wish him the best. Hopefully he can get himself you know, cleaned up and possibly get back out there and do battle today. But you know, he must have, you know, Josh is a fighter. He's a strong guy. We've seen him ride through injuries before. So for him to pull in, we'll assume that he must have been in an extraordinary amount of discomfort to do so and give up that podium position.
He must have, because he had high hopes coming into this one. And I know the guys got a chance to talk with him this morning before the race got underway.
Yeah, last weekend after Unadilla, I moved into second in points, so it's always good to move up the ladder in the points. I really wish I could get some wins before the year's out, so I think this year I think Caleb's quite a ways out front, and I really want to focus on racing my own races and getting a win before the season's out is what's really important. Rocky Mountain ATV MC have been behind me 2 years now, so.
And wow, so good, again, you know, good mindset, everything about it, but man, yeah, that it's all on fire down there right now. I'm sure it's not now. He's probably getting the water to it. But Johnny, I mean, talk about that. That's probably something that race fans back home and people that aren't necessarily experienced racers or riders that have never spilled gas on themselves. I mean, yeah, we understand it starts to burn. Obviously, if you're in a contention racing with one of the world's best off-road racers and you're chasing them down at that particular, would you turn around and go back to the pits? Well, it does hurt that bad. It's hurting that bad. What is the best form of comfort relief? How do you relieve an injury or a situation like that whenever you get gas in that area?
He went into the NFAB Ampro Yamaha Semi. It appears that he's probably going to be done for the day.
I guess that's the only thing you can, thanks, Jen. I guess that's the only thing you can do is hop into the shower.
You're going to take some soap and you know, something to get that irritant off of his skin. Like I said, I've had that happen before. Probably not the volume of gas that Josh experienced there, because I was able to just took off and made the best of it. But, you know, again, Josh is incredibly tough, you know, world-class racer, you know, definitely he has all these people behind him. So obviously, you know, for him to make the decision to come back and take care of the pain in any way he can find, it must have been an extraordinary amount of pain to do so.
Yeah, to say the least, for sure. And opens the door back up, and what that does now is introduce us to the opportunity for Grant Baylor to snag yet another overall podium. And if you think that Grant might be able to do it today, why don't you tweet your predictions and hashtag them GNCC Live for a chance to win $250 in AMSOIL product. Again, we'll choose the winner randomly, and we'll announce the winner toward the end of the show. You don't even have to be right to win. Well, I can tell you what, Johnny, watching this shot right here at the FMF PowerPoint, it appears to me that the weather, the skies, the clouds, and the sunshine is playing havoc on our camera. We have seen, I don't know how many different filters have to be switched out there. We've got sunshine out there. It looks like either that or they've really got the iris opened up big time on that thing, because it looks like the sun's beating down on that side of the mountain. We look outside the studios, we don't see that so much.
Yeah, well, that is actually the opposite side of the mountain than we're on. We're kind of on the top and the far end, and you know, these guys. It appears that the sun is working its way down through these trees on the FMF PowerPoint hill climb and starting to dry things out a little bit. And again, as that dirt rolls further downhill, we start to accumulate all those piles of dirt at the bottom, and at the top it just gets slicker. So this, although that's not as wet as it was, it's certainly still plenty tough to navigate for these guys, as we see with our amateur riders and riders who are getting ready to go a lap down on our top XC1 riders, as we're waiting for that PowerPoint very soon.
About 10 minutes out before lap number 4 complete here, an hour into an expected near 3-hour race at the Mountain Ridge GNCC. And time to take a look now at our Mid-State Chevy Midway Report. And thanks to our friends at Mid-State Chevrolet, located at Flatwoods, Kentucky, or excuse me, Flatwoods, West Virginia, the heart of West Virginia, down there off of I-79, where they stack them deep and they sell them cheap. The official truck provider of the GNCC Racing Nation. And as we take a look at the Mid-State Chevy Midway Report, Jordan Ashburn, Caleb Russell, Josh Strang was running third, but we've seen him drop out now. We got Grant Baylor, Andrew DeLong, and Chris Bach rounding out your top 5 in the XC1 Pro class, or excuse me, in the overall, in the XC1 Pro class. We add Andrew DeLong and into that mix as well. Also, XC2 Pro Lights class, we are looking at Grant Baylor, leading Trevor Bollinger now by 2 minutes. Nick Davis, the 2:22, a man on fire and a man on a mission out of Pennsylvania, a minute 22 seconds back in third. Mike McGinnis, the 24, in fourth out of Plume, PA. Sam Evans, the 21, out of St. Albans, West Virginia, rounding out your top 5 in the XC2 Pro Lights. Open A class, Tegan Temple leading out of Westchester, PA, on the 377. The 333, Hunter Williams out of Rocky Face, Georgia, running second. The 75, Zach Hayes out of Sumter, South Carolina, is third. Grant Marriott of Ulster, PA, the 375 in fourth. In fifth spot, the number 30, Bob Dunlap from Waverly, West Virginia. 250A class, Craig DeLong, who is the younger brother of Andrew DeLong and a fellow Husqvarna teammate out there, boy, the number 27 out of Morgantown, PA, holds the lead in this one with another Husqvarna rider out of Bedford, Indiana, the 123 of Austin Lee, who is a homegrown GNCC star himself. 282, Mike Witkowski out of North Liberty, Indiana, running third. Nolan Cipher in fourth out of New Bethlehem, PA, and he rides the 373 with the 642 of Mason Atherton out of Clarion, Pennsylvania, rounding out the top 5. 200A class, Michael Pillar out of Dover, Ohio, the 363 in first. In second, the 981, Jonathan Johnson out of Landrum, South Carolina, another homegrown GNCC star right there in the making. In third place, 339, Clint Masters from Morgantown, West Virginia. Fourth place, the 196 of Nick Mellinger out of Oakland, Maryland. The fifth place position, number 79, Zachary Ferentz from Bell Vernon, Pennsylvania. That's your 200A class after 3 laps of racing complete. At least for our top 3, Mellinger and Ferentz still looking to check in, as they were about 6 minutes behind the third place race. 4-stroke A lights class, Loic Leonard in the number 1 spot there. Alex Teagarden running in second. Leonard out of the on the Honda aboard the 581. Teagarden out of Waynesburg, PA on the number 37. Brady Myers, 32, out of Walker, West Virginia, runs third. 862, Jake Froman, who got the whole shot, if I remember right, at Linville, Indiana, running in fourth. And the 356 of Thorne Devlin out of Tamaqua, Pennsylvania, rounds out the top 5. The Vet A class, Curtis Ryan, 658, out of Fairdale, Kentucky, in the lead there. About only 2 seconds over the 33 of Joe Marsh. Those guys are doing about 4 minutes. We'll see what's going on there with those guys. Actually, Marsh turned about a 10-second faster lap the lap before, so going to be interesting to see whether the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania native is going to be able to overtake the Fairdale, Kentucky boy, as the 98 in third place, Joe Kessler out of Canton, Massachusetts. Fourth place, the 53, Shotgun Sean Remington out of New Salem, PA, and fifth spot, the 382, Matthew Ramali out of Mill Hall, Pennsylvania. Senior A class, Bill Schlag, the 418 out of Charlotte Hall, Maryland, leading the 181. And if I'm not mistaken, 6-time National Hare Scrambles champion and former GNCC great Doug Blackwell out of Parkersburg, West Virginia. 379, Rob Hertz out of Brookhaven, PA, is third. Fourth place, 631, John Leonard out of Cane Ridge, Tennessee. In fifth place, the 70 of Harry Englehart from Charlotte, North Carolina. Now the midway midway through the midway report now. It's kicking off with the Open B class. We got the 407, Jordan Burkhart out of Delroy, Ohio. The number 60 of Ryan Inman out of Morgantown, West Virginia, running second. Third place, Tyler Anderson, the 351, and third out of Myersdale, PA. It is Denver DeShong, the 478, and fourth out of Emler, PA. In fifth spot, the 366 of Bill Zavindi out of Cabot, PA. 250B class, Joe Bowden out front now out of this one, out of Lockport, New York. He's got a minute and 12 seconds over Canal Winchester, Ohio's Devin Byer, who rides the 368. 87 KR4 Arrive and Ride program rider, Colin Keegan out of Cole Center, Pennsylvania, running third. Kobe Beggart, the 521 out of Zanesville, Ohio, fourth. Nick Johnson out of Lockport, New York, running in fifth. 200B class, George Lucio out of Kersey, Pennsylvania, 374 is leading. The 967 of Braden Moore out of Ona, West Virginia, by about 215. Third place, 118, Brady Ware out of Kingwood, West Virginia. Neil Inman, the 359 out of Bangor, PA, is running fourth, and Dawson Dunning, 292 out of Columbus, Indiana, is fifth. Four-stroke B class, Hunter McDaniels, the 220 from Buchanan, West Virginia, leading only 27 seconds over the 131 of Justin Leonard out of Cane Ridge, Tennessee. 283, Trey Jefferson from Travelers Rest, South Carolina, is third. Fourth place, 405, Michael Tetlow from Lebanon Junction, Kentucky. In fifth spot, the 99, Matthew White from Germantown, North Carolina. And 2 more classes to go, boys. Vet B 30-plus class, we've got William Lackey leading Chuck LeMaster in the Vet B 30-plus class. Our GNCC pastor, it says 595, but if you see a 316 machine out there, that's him out of Gladeville, Tennessee. Nathan Miller running third aboard the 980. Larry Hopper out of Tarentum, Pennsylvania, 106 is fourth. And Tom Truxell, the 801 out of Verona, PA, is fifth. Senior B, Jay DeBerry, the 911 from Clarksburg, West Virginia. He is leading the 337. Michael Bryant from McKean, PA. Eric Robinson, the evil boy there, riding the 666 out of Legionnaire, Pennsylvania. Fourth place, the 83 is Devin Ferguson from Knoxville, Tennessee. And fifth place, the 914 of Mark Federico from Webster, New York. Interesting. 666 from Legionnaire, Pennsylvania. Just having a little bit of fun. That's your Senior B 40-plus class, and that's your Mid-State Chevrolet Midway Report. And be sure and check those guys out on midstatechevy.com, on Facebook. Like them and tell them we love them in the GNCC Racing Nation, and look for your next car, truck, or van right there online from Mid-State Chevrolet. They stack them deep, they sell them cheap here at Mid-State Chevrolet. So, Johnny, watching that one unfold, tell me what's been taking place since I drew that big, long, deep breath and began that Mid-State Chevy Midway Report.
You know, well, we've just been kind of watching the live cameras here, and what we've seen is just a lot of our riders that you talked about in the Mid-State Chevy Report there that have worked their way through and completed yet another lap. Most of these guys finishing up their second lap, some of them finishing up their third, and as we await for our XC1 and XC2 guys to come in and complete lap number 4. So I'm assuming, based on what we've seen so far, that we're going to have a 6, possibly 7 lap race. I don't know that we've made the call on that yet. We'll have to check into that. But you know, these guys they're past the halfway point now at 1 hour and 44 minutes in, and you know, things are really starting to shape themselves out front with Jordan Ashburn still leading the way. Caleb Russell putting in a charge to, you know, work his way up to the rear wheel of Ashburn if he can. And obviously, unfortunately, we've seen Josh Strang has retired from the race for today, as far as we can tell so far, and that was an unfortunate issue he had in the pits. It appears Jen got us that update, and seemed he had to do everything that he could to alleviate the chemical burn that he received from the gasoline that landed on his.
Slow down and talk, man. I just can't figure that out.
I'm like, again, as we said earlier, that's an incredible amount of discomfort. That is a viable chemical burn, and it needs to be treated. So I'm sure he's doing just that. And look at that. There's Caleb Russell on the rear tire of Jordan Ashburn as they work their way up the FMF PowerPoint. So he's reeled him in, but the battle is far from over.
Yeah, he was 6 seconds behind a lap ago. He was 20 seconds faster on that lap. Amazing. Ashburn must have picked up the pace, or maybe Caleb, maybe they did some swapping around out there. I don't know what's going on, but, wow, this is going to be pretty exciting. And they're not far off pace from the last lap around, so that's a pretty good a note to take a look at, that's for sure. 27:44 for Ashburn last time around, 27:24 for Caleb Russell, as he pulled to within, that was actually 6.7 seconds to be exact. And right now, back to the number 3 spot would have only been about 7 seconds. Can you imagine had Strang not done that? We'd have a 3-way battle most likely going on right now. But now we've got some 2 minutes or so back to Chris Bach, or actually,
Andrew DeLong would be our
out.
third
Andrew
place driver
DeLong.
now.
I keep forgetting that he is XC1, and it's been almost a year, believe it or not.
Yeah, and Andrew actually did earn his first XC1 podium at Snowshoe.
Yes.
Just 2 rounds ago before the summer break. So, finding himself, over halfway through this one and in the podium position again. Here we see our leaders working our way through the finish line chicanes, and Jordan Ashburn on the gas, and Caleb Russell almost goes down but saves it, gives up a few valuable seconds, but right back on the gas and doing everything that he can to get himself up in there in that fight. And Rodney, you talked about the fact that the lap before, Caleb Russell was 20 seconds faster, but only made up maybe 5 or 6 seconds this lap. We've said this so many times before. It's a lot easier to reel somebody in than it is to actually physically pass them. Once Jordan Ashburn knows Caleb Russell is there, he's going to do all he can.
Yes, most certainly. And 3.4 seconds separate the two. 26:59. Jordan Ashburn did pick up the pace. A 26:56 for Caleb Russell as he picked up the pace as well. But they did it consistently there in that near 3.5 second gap separating Ashburn and Russell now as we are into the home stretch of this one. Lap number 4, we'll get an official word here in just a moment as to whether or not we're going to have a 6 or 7 lap race. And as soon as we get that word, Johnny, I'll be sure. I'm getting ready to actually radio over to scoring and timing right now and get that official word. And speaking of official words, I think we're about ready to get the official line in on soon anyway. The fact that Grant Baylor, I believe, has moved into the not only physical but time-adjusted third-place position.
Yeah, actually, when we last saw Grant Baylor, he was ahead of Andrew DeLong, and we believe Andrew DeLong, per what we've seen on the track, would now be our third XC1 rider. So Grant Baylor being physically ahead of him at last check, and here we have Grant Baylor right now checking in. So he is physically third, on corrected time third, winning the XC2 class. But again, third overall, both physically and on corrected time.
Wow, so I'm sitting here trying to do some math in my own mind right now, Johnny, to try to determine where we're at. We checked in, I guess, an hour and 46 minutes in with 27-minute laps basically called that. So 2 more laps will put us at just under the 2:45 mark. So I know they like to be as close to that 3-hour mark as possible. It's a little bit different. They go, instead of going over the 3-hour mark, they don't like to go over the 3-hour mark at all. So they may actually call this one at the 6-lap mark, but they could go ahead and do about a 6 or 7 minute, more than so a 3:07 lap or 3:07 race possibly.
Yeah, it's we'll have to see how it all pans out. But looking at our elapsed time for our top 3, something interesting that I'm seeing here, 1:46.32 is the elapsed time for Jordan Ashburn. Caleb Russell 1:46.35, so obviously just 3 seconds behind. But Rodney, look at this. Grant Baylor 1:47.05, meaning he is exactly 30 seconds behind Caleb Russell for that number 2 spot. And let's look at the lap times here, and we see with a 26:59, he ran basically the same exact lap time. Actually, if we go down to the milliseconds there, we see that he was about 0.69 seconds faster than Jordan ASHBURN on that lap, and then Caleb Russell was about 2 seconds faster than them. So, you know, these guys are, I mean, this is really a game of inches right now at this point, you know, an hour and 48 minutes in. So these guys are really fighting it out here. And Grant Baylor, you know, I'm sure those pit boards are going to tell him how close he is to that corrected time overall. You know, being on the podium already, now he's just got to see what he can do. He's already gotten a second overall. There's only one more spot he can go if he wants to improve.
For sure. And Johnny, as we watch this finish line region, you know, I watch this camera pan around to the beautiful panoramic view. I mean, it's all the way around us atop this mountain ridge itself. And, you know, some beautiful things. We see the windmills, which is one thing that has become part of a huge notoriety of this particular facility itself, becoming a wind farm shortly after we began GNCC racing in around 2005, I believe it was. There's Chris Bach checking in, by the way, right now. He is 5th place overall, 4th place in the XC1 Pro class. Well, watch that mountain range right back there behind it. A couple of things happening there this weekend. Since Friday, I've noticed that fall foliage colors are starting to set in. We're starting to see a very beautiful scenery around us. And then if you look just a little further off, about 3 mountaintops away from where we are, you can see some construction going on, something out in the middle of nowhere. Well, that is the construction of the Flight 93 Memorial, the plane that went down on September 11th, 2001, some 13 years ago. And that is another, well, that is one of the things that makes this area of Pennsylvania kind of significant as far as the historical values of the United States. I mean, obviously, Pennsylvania, a very historical place, but that right there, that what happened on that day, that tragedy, certainly changed America, changed this world, changed everything about our lives forever. And let us never forget. And our GNCC camera crew, the RacerTV crew, actually had a chance to stop over on Friday and visit the memorial that is in place right now. And a lot of the other GNCC Racing Nation joined us. Never forget, and I know I never will. It changed my life forever some 13 years ago. Watching America being attacked like that, and you know, fortunately for quick-thinking, hard, strong Americans, strong believing Americans, putting themselves obviously in harm's way and taking their own life in the process, really helped protect America that day. And we salute those men and women on that went down on that plane, and all those that died on that tragic day on September 1st, September 11th, 2001. Johnny, I know kind of it takes me back every time, and I know it's a fitting tribute. You know, it's kind of saddening in one way, but it ought to make us proud at the same time. It allows us to be here doing the things, the opportunities to do the things that we're doing now, like what we're witnessing right there. Talk about that.
Yeah, you know, I mean, obviously everything that's transpired since then, and you know, as a country, we've continued on and you know, continued to do the things that we love to do, and you know, GNCC racing, and obviously being one of those major things. And Rodney, I don't know if you caught what I was pointing at on the screen, but as we came back from that piece, and this was not pre-timed, we had no idea. Obviously, that was rider number 911.
That was
worked his way through the finish line tent as that piece came back from break. So, if you want to talk about a little bit of chilling coincidence, I'm sure, but nonetheless, you know, just a little message to remind everybody the great country we live in. We see those American flags flying, and all the men and women over the years that have given the given their lives and given so much of themselves to allow us to live in the great country that we do. And that's a great memorial and a great tribute by all the folks at RacerTV that put that together. So hats off to all of them.
For sure. God bless the USA. God bless us all. As we turn our attention back to the racing action, an hour and 54 minutes into this one, Jordan Ashburn with Caleb Russell hot on his rear wheels when they checked in. 30 seconds behind on adjusted time was Grant Baylor back there in the number 3 spot. Andrew DeLong 1 minute and 38 seconds back in the number 4 spot. And Chris Bach another minute 56 behind him. Yeah, I seen Chris Bach. There's a new life in this guy. We saw a glimpse of goodness and great things out of him in New York a couple of weeks ago. And the attitude carried over to this weekend. I had a chance, well, yesterday, all the fun and Friday even, all the fun and everything that was going on. I know that Chris has really had some high hopes about getting on a podium, and he said if you don't get a podium, he is going. There's Grant Baylor into the pits now. Said if he gets on the podium and you don't come over there to meet him at the finish line, he was going to ride his. And he told me yesterday. He says, or actually this morning, he said, I'm serious. He said, it'll cost you guys crazy money. He said, I want Johnny over there if I get on the podium. So, and I seen him out running this morning. I mean, an hour or so before the race, he was putting in some laps around the facility trying to get warmed up. That's a whole new attitude, a whole new life, so to speak, for Chris. You know, even though the deficit may not be necessarily showing that right now, the heart is certainly showing it, and the position is on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, out there, he's currently in the 4th place position, and a lot of racing left. Still an hour of racing left, so anything could change. But he's got about 1 minute and 56 seconds at last check to make up on Andrew DeLong for that, if he does want to make that podium spot, if he wants me to be there for him. But you know, Chris and I become great friends over the last couple of years, and he's a good guy, great heart, and he's you know, he's had a tough season at the beginning part of this season so far, you know, making that change to the new team, and those guys have been great. They've been super supportive and stayed behind him.
Yes,
but,
they have.
you know, he kind of took exception with my added role here at RacerTV and GNCC Live, and, you know, he says I'm not out there cheering him on, and, you know, I'm just one of those people, you know, I support my friends to the best of my ability, and, you know, whether it's, you know, if unfortunately, you know, there's been a race or two this year where I wasn't able to finish on the ATV side of things, and I'll scream until my lungs give out and do the same thing when I have the opportunity on Sunday, whether it's in the morning race for my friends that are out there and people that I support. So he says it always motivated him. So he said if he's in podium contention, I better be out there screaming my guts out. So I'll do my best if he can keep the pace up.
Well, you ought to get out there.
Oh, and we see Ryan Sipes down on the ground. Oh, is that? I'm not certain that was, but I thought that might have been Ryan Sipes that hit the deck there. He would be a little early if it was. No, that's Paul Whibley now coming his way through. So yeah. I don't believe that was Sipes. Looked like him the first second there, though.
Well, it could have been Paul Whibley behind Sipes now. Last check, though, he was, well, he was only 8 seconds back.
Oh, well, then maybe it very possibly was him.
Yeah, so, wow, a lot of changes taking place over the course of this race so far, Johnny. Let's check in with the overall right now. Just from a lap ago, a lot of changes. Ashburn, Russell, Baylor, DeLong, Bach, your top 5 now. Ryan Sipes in 6th, Trevor Bollinger 7th. Paul Whibley at 8th. Nick Davis, who is 3rd place in the XC2 Pro Lights class, he is 9th. And Jason Thomas, UKJT, the number 9 machine, in 10th. And again, just glad to see him back in the action and running a good solid top 10 in that XC. Wow, look at this. I just now noticed this. You know, we always talk about top amateurs and everything, but look, our top amateur is already up to a 12th place overall position at the 2-hour mark right now. That is Craig DeLong in the 250A class. He is
Austin Lee 1 second behind him.
Actually, it looks like that Austin just tracked him down. A 29.06 for DeLong, a 28.48 for Austin Lee. So 1.5 seconds separating the battle for 12th overall and also top amateur. Pretty amazing stuff for those 250A class riders.
Yeah, you know, these are young guys, and they're really going for it. Now we see that that was Ryan Sipes that we saw hit the deck on that slick bridge there. So that puts Paul Whibley pretty much right back on his rear wheel after Sipes was able to make the pass just a little bit earlier in the race here. And those guys are, as they checked in at the finish line, Sipes was only 41 seconds behind Chris Bach for the oh, actually, wait, is that Yes, 41 seconds he was behind Chris Bach for which would be the 4th place position in XC1. So great ride for Sipes. You know, we've seen him did really well in Florida and pushed a good pace, and then has kind of been finding his GNCC legs since then, and you know, has had some solid top 10s in XC1 and some, you know, some good overalls. But today is in my opinion probably the best ride we've seen him put in since Florida. So exciting to see him up there and mixing it up with these guys.
All righty, so let's take a look at the top 20 overall just real quick. As we've been talking about, the ASHBURN, Russell, Baylor, DeLong, Bach, we know that. Ryan Sipes 6th, Bollinger in 7th, Whibley in 8th, 9th, Nick Davis, Jason Thomas in 10th. XC2 Pro Lights 4th place, Mike McGinnis is 6th, 12th and 13th. Again, DeLong and Austin Lee. Chris Douglas, running back in the number 14 spot. Tegan Temple, Open A class leader, running back in the number 15 spot. Got Big Sam Evans out of the XC2 Pro Lights in 16th. Check this out. The top 3 riders in the 250A class are all in the top 20 overall. Mike Wachowski running in a 17th place position. Former JNCC champion, the Japanese cross-country champ, Takeshi KOIKEDA, running 18th. 19th is Mark Horesco and Josh Strang. Rounds out the top 20, at least for the moment, because it's Blake Leonard now, 4-stroke A lights class leader. So we got a lot of different classes now in this overall at Mountain Ridge, and you got to wonder and ask the questions, what's going on out there? What was going on right there?
That was Jordan Ashburn and Caleb Russell checking through there at the 5-mile marker, and these guys are, you know, on the gas and still battling, and it is still Jordan Ashburn out front. So
was that Ricky Russell over there?
Yeah, Ricky Russell in
the
woods there, giving Ashburn pit boards, and I'm sure Whibley as well, and all of the Ampro Yamaha guys. You know, Ricky's he's got a great attitude there. You know, I talked to him a little bit, and unfortunately that injury we spoke about her a little bit earlier in the show, and has taken him out of that battle for the XC2 Lights Championship, which he was right in the thick of. But he's definitely not giving up on it. I hope he's a righty and not a lefty, because
no doubt.
He's doing his writing there.
All righty, as we see here at the 5-mile marker, our leaders going through there was Jordan Ashburn and Caleb Russell. Right on nose to tail with one another, looking for about a minute and a half or 30 seconds back should possibly be Grant Baylor. Will be watching and waiting to see whether or not the number 1 machine checks in with us here in just mere moments at this 5-mile marker, and we'll take a quick break here in just a second. I honestly expected Baylor to have already been through, but remember, we got to account for that.
There's Grant in the background there. He's going to be coming any second. He just went the other way. And look at this, Ricky Russell giving Grant Baylor a pit board. So here's a guy that just 2 weeks ago he was battling with tooth and nail. They were fighting each other down to the final turn in so many races so far, you know, as we are now 11 rounds into this 13-round series. You know, for the first 10 rounds, these guys went toe-to-toe, fought each other. That really shows the camaraderie of GNCC Racing. Ricky's saying, hey, man, I want to see an XC2 guy get up there and win this overall. So I'm gonna help my buddy Grant out and see if we can help him get up there.
Pretty cool stuff, no doubt about it. Right now, Jordan Ashburn leading Caleb Russell. Grant Baylor, the XC2 Pro Lights class leader, in 3rd place overall. 2 hours, 2 minutes into this race, and we'll be back with the conclusion of lap 5 coming up right after this.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best? The best. You have to have the best equipment under the hood. That's why I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
for those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
Sometimes you come across something so different, you just have to stop and check it out. The Rocky Mountain ATV MC website has everything you need, from our huge selection of tires, ATV and UTV accessories, and OEM parts, to our online chat, customer reviews, and instructional videos. Our extensive inventory means most orders arrive in 3 days or less. Get low prices, quick shipping, and incredible customer service. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Your coolant. One of the most important things is almost always overlooked. Evans coolant is the first coolant to be 100% waterless. What does this mean? It means a higher boiling point to keep your bike running cooler. No hot spots, corrosion, or buildup on your engine to eliminate excess wear and tear, to save you money, and to make your engine run longer at peak performance. For more information, visit our new website, evanschooling.com.
Check out ARC's new Unbreakable Memlon levers. Composite levers that weigh 45% less than aluminum and can never break. ARC levers are on the factory KTM, Husqvarna, Kawasaki, Honda, Yamaha, and Beta race bikes. Check them out at arclevers.com.
Motocross, for me, has never been about the fame.
And welcome back to GNCC Live on RacerTV.com as we have got ourselves a great battle shaping up between the leaders, and Big John out near the 6 mile marker has got an update on what's going on. Big John, I hear that this one's still pretty tight out there. Big John, you got a copy?
Out near the 6 mile mark, Jordan ASHBURN and Caleb Russell are literally wheel to wheel, keeping it extremely close out here. They're really rocking it.
10-4. So out near the 6 mile marker, they had things going pretty good out there. Sounds like that Big John maybe a little excited out there. His voice changing a little bit, but that guy, I tell you, he gets excited about racing. There's no doubt about it. And 6 mile marker, pretty amazing stuff there, Johnny Gallagher, as Jordan ASHBURN's rising to the occasion, man. And I'm not saying that Caleb's riding with a sense of urgency, but you could see that Caleb was pushing it whenever they ended that last lap, the 4th lap of racing there, and Caleb went down and was kind of just a little loose out there, trying to push. You could tell that there was a sense of urgency, a little one.
I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not quite the history buff that I claim to know a little, but obviously we know Jordan ASHBURN has not won an overall. I don't know that now, 2 hours and 7 minutes into this, I don't know that he's ever led a race this late into a 3-hour GNCC event. I know that he has led races. I know he has led laps. But for him to be leading this late, this really shows a whole new realm of determination and fight for Jordan ASHBURN. And to have the best in the business right now, the guy who's really been so dominant this season, Caleb Russell, just a few points away from wrapping up this championship, which I don't know if it's too early to start talking about that at this point. Caleb coming into this round with a pretty healthy points lead, with that in mind, Caleb obviously wants to do what he needs to do to go ahead and, wrap up this championship. And we actually do have Jen Kenyon with us, and perhaps she can lead a little more light on exactly where we're at with this championship scenarios for Caleb Russell.
Yeah, I guess I'm the championship points expert. I know exactly what's going on. You know what? I'm really confused about what's going on right now. I'm gonna.
We're sorry to drag you in like this. We were talking about the possibility of a championship being crowned here, a champion being crowned. Is it too early to start talking about Caleb Russell being crowned the champion today?
As far as the number crunching that we've been doing all along, it sounds like Caleb had to get just well inside that top 10 position, which he's definitely doing here if he's battling for the win. And he can wrap this championship up. So I know the Racer Productions crew, they've got the #1 plate locked up in that trailer over there, that scoring trailer. They're prepared to give that #1 plate out to Caleb Russell if he does score first, second, third, maybe even fourth or fifth. So we'll see how it all pans out. I'm not a mathematician, so I don't want to claim I know the points gaps for sure, but I think anywhere inside that top 8, he might be good to go.
Well, talk about this, too. Think about it. We come into this one, Josh Strang 20 points ahead of Jordan ASHBURN. Strang in the second place position in points. Ashburn all the way back in the fourth place position. This should move. A good finish here today will move, I think, Ashburn ahead of Charlie Mullins in the point standings, at least to third. And quite possibly, depending on where, I guess, Josh finishes in the overall, we might see, Jordan Ashburn actually move into the second place position in points today.
Yeah, you know, right now Jordan's in fourth place overall, and I believe that's the highest ranking that he's been in his pro career. So, you know, I know he's been really solid this season. He's got a lot of great finishes, probably some of his most. There's Chris Bach there on the screen. Looks like they're working on something there. Johnny, you're the expert on the bikes here.
It looks like they're taking his clutch cover off, and we can see an extensive amount of smoke and heat coming off of that, so we can make the assumption that he's obviously having some clutch
Did
issues.
He smoke his clutches?
Yeah, I mean, that's very possible. I mean, he was out there, you know, on these slick conditions, you're going to use that clutch a little bit more, so perhaps did a little too much with the overheating of the clutch, so these guys are going to do what they can to try and get him back out there and salvage some points.
And check it out. Yes, exactly. Get him back out there. Watch. He's patiently waiting, and you can see the frustration. And that right there, that's a new Chris Bach. I don't care what anybody says. Before the break, I don't think he would have been so adamant to be standing there and just, come on, guys, let's get this done so I can get out there. And he's focused on what's going on right now, and I think that's good.
Guys, check this out. You see, Lane Michaels' dad, Rick, is actually the one working on the bike right now. Johnny Campbell, the owner of JCR, he's helping out, of course. It's his team, his guy. But we've got another opposing XC2 guy who does, you know, Lane Michaels injured this race, so his dad's working on it. Chad Duvall, the father and mechanic of Thad, he's over there helping out. Those guys kind of stick together. They're not on the same team, but they're Honda back. They're all Red Riders, and it's really cool to watch them all. Wow.
Yeah, that is not a clutch issue. Nope. He's actually busted the cover off of his water pump, meaning that he's lost all his coolant, and that's where we saw that steam coming from. When I saw him spinning those bolts, I thought they were the clutch cover bolts, but obviously they dropped that skid plate, and now they're going to go ahead and do the best they can to try and get that water pump removed. Chris does have a spare bike there, so I'm sure they're going to remove that assembly. FMF PowerPoint. Now here we go live to a shot. We see Caleb Russell up the PowerPoint, and here comes Jordan Ashburn. Wow, so we do have a new leader.
You know what's interesting, Takeshi Koikeda, also a Honda-backed rider, he had an issue with his water pump earlier today, and the Michael compound over there, they loaned him some parts from there. So, man, that's going to be an interesting dynamic. They've got a lot of part swapping going on. Like I said, huge teamwork over there.
Most certainly, and the winds of change are blowing, and another change out there as Jordan Ashburn moves back to the number 2 spot. Caleb Russell up to the number 1 spot. Thanks, Jen, for helping us sort that all out there a moment ago. But so Caleb Russell out front, and again, you know, I don't think his championship was in a threat. It's a ride for pride at this point. I think Caleb likes looking on the point standings. See, one across the board like that. Jordan Ashburn, certainly nothing to be ashamed of, as he is probably held as close and as strong to Caleb Russell as anybody has since Charlie Mullins was with us before his injury, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you know, this is the latest we've seen Caleb in a battle, and since you know, Charlie's retiring, or at least partial departure from the season, we have heard news that possibly Charlie will be back before the end of the season. I actually saw an Instagram post, I believe it was, that he is back riding his dirt bike, but you know, between doctors and the team and himself, they decided that although he does love this place, it wasn't a good time for him to come back just yet. So who knows, we might see him at the next round, and then that'll further heat up that battle over that second place position. Yep. But one thing that's not being contested as we see the white flag come out, Rodney, you've said it so many times on the ride that dreams are made of, Caleb Russell, last lap here at the Mountain Ridge GNCC with the potential to, if he can basically make it to the finish line. Obviously, he's in this battle. He wants to win. Caleb is a fighter down tooth and nail. He's not going to let Jordan Ashburn beat him without putting up the biggest fight. But Jordan Ashburn, only, as we refresh the screen there, we see 11 seconds back in the final lap. That is the closest Jordan Ashburn has ever been to winning a race in his XC1 or career of any kind so far as an overall in GNCC racing. Jordan has won XC2 races. Jordan has won a lot of races over the years in the XC2 and, you know, back in the day battling for amateur overall. But, man, you know, how exciting for him to have an opportunity to win. And Caleb Russell, you know, you got to think in the back of his mind, although he's super composed, very experienced, you know, is it at the point where he's going to think to himself, you know what, I only need 8th place overall today to wrap up this championship. If Jordan can push him, is he going to let Jordan go? I say no. What do you think?
I don't think Caleb will. I think Caleb's having too much fun right now. And if he can get somebody to race with, he's going to race with him. And I think I can imagine that's probably what we're going to hear Caleb say, is how much fun it was to race with Jordan, and I'm sure we're going to hear the same thing out of that. And can you imagine? I'm hoping this is not a one. I don't think it is. I really don't. I've seen the consistent build-up, but maybe this is a new life in here. There's Grant Baylor checking in the number 3 spot. By the way, guys, as we head into our virtual chat, don't forget to tweet your predictions, your podium predictions. This is your last chance to do so. So tweet your podium prediction finishes to and hashtag those GNCC Live for a chance to win $250 in AMSOIL product. Winners will be chosen randomly, and we will be doing that soon. Your predictions there earlier. I'm going to predict it's going to be Caleb Russell, Jordan Ashburn, and Grant Baylor.
Yeah, that was definitely not my prediction. So I was off on mine, unfortunately.
Well, if I would have started
two of the guys that I had in my top 3 are either in the pits working on stuff or have had some issues earlier in this race. So those guys were bit by some mechanical gremlins. But Rodney, and I don't mean to break in here, but 2:13.04 is the elapsed time for Caleb Russell as he takes out on the last lap as our overall leader. Grant Baylor, 3rd place, 2:13.39. 35 seconds is the difference between Grant Baylor potentially winning an overall. And in the mix there, let's not forget, 11 seconds back physically of Jordan Ashburn is Caleb Russell. So now again, these are on corrected, or I'm sorry, Jordan Russell is Grant Baylor is only, I guess that'd be 14 seconds then out of 24 seconds out of 2nd place overall. So, Grant's still very much in this mix for the overall podium. He is in that 3rd spot on corrected time. Physically, he is also the 3rd rider. We just had our physically 4th rider and 3rd in XC1, Andrew DeLong, just check in for now with the white flag headed out on his final lap. But we got to keep an eye on that split difference between Grant Baylor and Caleb Russell, because one miscue on the part of Caleb Russell, 35 seconds. Think about how small of an amount of time that is.
Yep, for sure. Jenny on the spot's got an update. What's going on, Jane Kenyon?
That's right, guys. We see a tough break for Chris Bach and the Johnny Campbell Racing team, but they are putting things together. I wanted to show you guys just what's broken here on Chris's bike. If you can see, it's the water pump cover. This one has a hole in it. Sounds like Chris had a little spill there and a rock went through. We know it's pretty rocky, pretty treacherous out here. This is what it should look like. So here's the shiny new piece that they are putting on right now. And this is what you don't want it to look like out there. So Chris Bach is getting some water, he's getting hydrated, and he's ready to go back out there.
All right, thanks a lot, Jen Kenyon and Jenny on the spot. See, man, I mean, visuals and everything. I think that's awesome over there. A tough break for Chris, obviously, but good work there by Jen Kenyon.
Yeah, definitely an unfortunate break for him. We've seen a couple of mechanical failures already in this race. We saw Thad Duvall with supposedly a blown shock, or from what we've been told, a blown shock, and then also, Chris Bach with the water pump issue. We've seen Josh Strang, obviously, with some pain issues due to having some gas spilled on him at his gas stop. So it's been a treacherous day for all these guys, and the guys that have soldiered through it best so far: Caleb Russell in the number 1 spot, Jordan Ashburn in the number 2 spot, and Grant Baylor, your XC2 leader, 3rd physically and on corrected time in the overall.
Guys, what's crazy to add about all these different misfortunes is that it's not just one thing, it's not one brand, it's not one certain thing that's going on with these guys. It's like a different thing each time, just a rock here and there. So, man, there's a lot of stuff going on out there.
There is, I guess, a lot of variables out there as far as this facility is concerned. And yeah, I mean, it's not one bike brand, it's not one style of rider. It's anybody, I think, it could fall victim into this Mountain Ridge GNCC course today.
Rodney, as we're sitting here, I actually just got a text message from Adam Bonner, one of our XC1 riders, and I thought it odd that I was receiving a text message from him, since he should be out on the track racing, but he just simply said 2 injectors, which to me, again, as we're talking about these mechanical failures, potentially was sucked in through that air filter, made its way into the fuel system. These guys are now filling Chris Bach's coolant, with coolant, and they're going to get him back out there to potentially try and salvage some top 20 points, as he does still fight for his overall number at the end of the year. 2.5 mile marker.
2.5 mile marker. Caleb Russell out there. Oh, what was that?
That was Jordan Ashburn. He's still keeping it close. Man. I was wrong. Here comes Jordan now. But still, within that 10-second window we talked about. So.
Yeah, this is a new life, Jordan. Jordan, I mean, I wouldn't know if he's beginning to tire. I wouldn't necessarily say that's the case. I think any pressure from Caleb Russell at this juncture in the race is probably going to be prone to a mistake or two. Russell to get around, but man, again, just gotta say great things about Jordan Ashburn. Is it a glimpse of greatness today, or is it something that we're going to have an opportunity to see? Is it a preview of things to come? And that's what I'm liking about GNCC right now here at round number 11 in 2014. And again, the irony of it all, the windy mountaintop of Mountain Ridge is the winds of change blowing as onto the trail, and kudos to Chris for keeping into this and trying to get as many points as possible. He is,
and there goes Caleb Russell through our pro pits there. So in the VP Fuels pro pits, Caleb Russell has worked his way through. Now we wait on Jordan Ashburn as he's going to be working his way past. We see the NFAB guys, mom there with the pit board in her hand, and she's telling him, oh, we got dad with the pit board and mom with the pit board. They're getting all the information that they can to Jordan. The pit board said, well, you know, how far he was behind Caleb, and then probably something motivational upon, you know, like, hey, buddy, you can do this. We believe in you. Go get him, you know. So we'll see if Jordan can dig deep on this final lap of racing. Now with only about 7 miles left, because about 7 miles, because they're at the 3 mile marker there, and you know, Jordan Ashburn in hot pursuit. We're going to see how this all pans out here coming up real quick. There's Trevor Bollinger working his way through the little hydration bottle. These guys do wear the packs on their back, but over the course of 3 hours, that's going to get pretty warm, and they're going to suck through quite a bit of it.
Guess the gap between first and second right now in the XC.
Well, I can't see it on the screen, so I'm going to guess that it's got to be upwards of 5 minutes.
6:14 seconds.
6:14, yeah. I mean, that's, you know, we saw it at Unadilla. Trevor Bollinger put up a heck of a fight with Grant Baylor. I mean, we saw them at 1 second, 8 seconds, back and forth for about the first hour and a half. You know, either Grant really picked the pace up or Trevor had some issues. But either which way, you know, 80 minutes was the margin of victory. And here we see Grant Baylor now at the 3 mile marker with Trevor Bollinger just checking in at the finish. I mean, he's 1/3 of the way around the course just about, and Bollinger just checking his way. Not to take anything away from Trevor Bollinger, you know, the second currently and 7th overall. So, you know, that just goes to show Caleb Russell, Jordan Ashburn, Grant Baylor, these guys are really, Andrew DeLong about 2 minutes and 42 seconds back of Jordan Ashburn. He is our 3rd place in XC1, and again, we talked earlier about Thad Duvall and how he was familiar with these conditions with the rocks and all. Andrew DeLong, being a PA boy, actually, I believe, helped promote this event. He's from not so near here, probably about 2.5 hours from here, but nonetheless, home state. I've actually ridden up near Andrew's house quite a bit, and the conditions mimic the Mountain Ridge GNCC quite closely. So we saw him on the podium at Snowshoe as well. So, you know, you got to believe that those Husky boys and his crew are real happy position in his first year in XC1.
For sure, and rightfully so. As I was checking this arrive and ride, and the KR4 Performance Arrive and Ride award that we're going to be handing out at the conclusion of this lap. I've been kind of trying to watch things there, and, you know, honestly, the first lap that was like 25:12 or something like that, or whatever it happened to be, in the 25-minute range. Late 26, like a 26:59 turned by Jordan Ashburn on the second lap. Then they went in the 27s. They went back down into the 26s. Now, last time around, Caleb Russell turned a 26:28. So I'm thinking that maybe he's got the KR4 fastest lap right now.
Yeah, and, you know, Grant Baylor with a 26:34, only 6 seconds slower that lap. So again, keeping it close and keeping it within that 35-second gap that we talked about. But I think you might be right there, Rodney. I think with Caleb turning that 26:28, I think that is the fastest lap. I think a little bit earlier we saw some 26:30 somethings, but I don't think we saw a 26:28 or anything in the 26:20s. So
right.
Just goes, these guys are such fit athletes that they're able to drop their lap times even after 2 hours and now 23 minutes of race.
JT Jason Thomas on that Dirtwise Academy climb back machine that, of course, former GNCC champion. They have a rider that kind of revolutionized GNCC back in the late 2000s, giving it a whole different appeal, and actually I think creating of American racing that the rest of the world got tuned into, and kind of opened the floodgates for great things to happen after that, Johnny Gallagher.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and we've seen so many foreign or European riders come over and have such success in GNCC racing. We've seen champions in Josh Strang. You know, we've seen other riders from other parts of the world, you know, TAKESHI, KOIKEDA, and Paul Whibley as well. I guess some of these guys have been here, you know, so long, you kind of think of them as well. You know, these guys you know, they've been here quite a while, and at least for now, you know, Paul and Catherine living there in Travelers Rest, South Carolina, and Paul having a, you know, a pretty solid ride today, 6th overall. But I'm sure if I ask him after the race, he's probably going to give me the same answer he gave me after the last one, which I was in his interviews, and but he's incredibly hard on himself. And
yeah, you weren't interviewing; you were just talking to him.
Yep, we were just talking like buddies, and he said, yeah, that nonetheless a great professional, and you know, former two-time champion of GNCC racing, and he's going to want to and also ultimately fight for championships. So we'll have to see if he can do it with the 2 races remaining in 2014 show, with Grant Baylor kind of hanging in that 1-minute gap back there. So it's the race within the race. It's that corrected time, hard to keep track of.
Wow, I tell you, just how calm, cool, collected Jordan Ashburn was this morning. And light days, I mean, it kind of seemed a little different down there for him. But I thought I was kind of putting him on the spot there by asking him some of the questions that I asked him in the pre-race interviews here live trackside for the PA folks, for the folks listening over the PA here in PA. Anyway, there's a mile marker now checking in. But yeah, Jordan, you know, like we said, you know, I said this earlier in the broadcast, Johnny. I said that, you know, when I was talking to him, I was like, you know, we haven't really seen that big glimpse of greatness out of you so far this season, but we have seen those good rides out of you, and consistency has kept you in a solid top 5 position. And wow, there he is. He's still not far off the pace. He is still not far off the pace at all.
It seems he's given up just a few seconds, you know, but he's certainly fighting. And at the 5-mile marker, that means 5.5 miles of racing left. So anything can happen. They've got lappers, they've got rocks, they've got dust. They've any miscues on you know, we saw Caleb almost go down right there in the finish line. We've seen issues. They've still got that FMF PowerPoint ahead of them. So plenty of obstacles still remaining. But as of right now, Caleb Russell on his way. Jordan Ashburn chasing him down in hot pursuit. And then we'll wait to see here very soon.
20 seconds or so, 20, 30 seconds before we'll see that number 1, green number 1 coming through, and that will be Grant Baylor. And here's the cool thing about it. You'll have the number 1, which we had earlier this season, I guess, in Ohio, but the number 1
in Georgia as well.
Yeah, I love what GNCC brings us, the surprises that it brings us. I guess we're not going to catch. There he is. There he is. That's the guy we were waiting on there. So Grant Baylor making his way through. Russell, Jordan Ashburn, and Grant Baylor 1, 2, and 3 at the 5-mile marker, and only a little more than that. Home to the checkers. When we return, we'll find out how it all finishes here on GNCC Live.
Your coolant. One of the most important things is almost always overlooked. Evans coolant is the first coolant to be 100% waterless. What does this mean? It means a higher boiling point to keep your bike running cooler. No hot spots, corrosion, or buildup on your engine to eliminate excess wear and tear to save you money and at peak performance. For more information, visit our new website, evanschooling.com.
Check out ARC's new unbreakable Memlon levers. Composite levers that weigh 45% less than aluminum and can never break. ARC levers are on the factory KTM, Husqvarna, Kawasaki, Honda, Yamaha, and Beta race bikes. Check them out at arclevers.com. The top racers choose the Sunstar Work Z stainless steel rear sprocket. Tooth designed for self-cleaning, it's up to 40% lighter and 3 times more durable than standard steel. Shaft sprocket and Works triple guard seal grade chain. Star drives Ryan Sipes, Thad Duvall, Adam McGill, Jared McClure, and many others. Watch for them on the podium all year.
How about pro motocross, flat track, road race, ATV, GNCC, Supermoto, Enduro Cross? Well, we've got what you're looking for. Welcome to the Racer X Show with Greg White, presented by Chaparral Motorsports. New every Tuesday on RacerTV.com.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. All racing all the time. Rodney Tomlin along with Johnny Gallagher and Jen Kenyon out there out and about checking in with things as we are in the final and closing miles and minutes of this return to the Mountain Ridge GNCC as we get a good look at that beautiful landscape and the skyscape here with those beautiful windmills turning in the wind, and now seeing some blue skies out there, as a matter of fact. And, you know, looking back on the history of all this right here, obviously we skipped a couple of years of actually being here at the GNCCs at Mountain Ridge. But, man, coming back, again, it seems like home, believe it or not. And this one only established as late as 2007. Believe it or not, and wow, here we are now a few years later, and we are coming back after a couple of year hiatus, and it seems so much like home already. And I tell you what, as we watch this right now, we just see that we've got 258 class leader and second place right now. In 9th and 10th place overall, Craig DeLong and Austin Lee, 42 seconds apart, running 9th and 10th overall from the 258 class. They are, or he is, Craig is, some pretty impressive stuff. And also had some pretty information just handed in to us about some win situations and factors. And Jen, I don't know, are you aware of the significance of this win that Caleb Russell's about ready to get underway? This will be win number, what, 9? Yeah, win number 9 of the season. And we've had a little bit of historical research done, and believe it or not, it has not been done since 2005. 9 wins by one motorcycle rider in since 2005. Wait a minute. Is that 8? Is that 7 right there? Okay, I was just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, this will be number 8. So someone miscalculated. So we thought we were looking at a record. So
you know what, though? We're talking about records. If Caleb Russell wins this race, it'll be his 21st career, which will tie him with Scott Plessinger, I believe, for 5th overall in the all-time. So if Caleb Russell wins one more race here in 2014, that will bump him up to being impressive for a guy of Caleb's age and his experience in time in XC1, because the guys that are all ahead of him, Scott Plessinger, Scott's established icons here in the sport, and Caleb is right up there with them. So that's pretty cool.
Exactly, and how, exactly, you know, is by comparison quite possibly as what they were whenever they were able to make those accomplishments. So sorry for a little bit. I was just radioing some information, and I'm glad that you did the checkup on that. But, you know, that is something to point out, that if Caleb Russell does do that, we haven't had anyone win 9 races in a season since U-Haul Salmon in 2005. That's pretty impressive stuff considering 2006. So he did have a little bit of
you know, Rodney, this may only be win number 8, but let's keep in mind there are still 2 rounds remaining in 2014. So, you know, he still has the opportunity to go, you know, for that 9 or 10 wins, you know. But, you know, the other thing that we have to look at is, like, you know, you guys have both said his age here. You know, he certainly has the opportunity to maybe go after that all-time win record. You just never know. I mean, how many up? I mean, that's entirely up to him. I mean, there's no limit to a guy like Caleb that's come up through the amateur or the GNCC family, literally and figuratively for so long. So he's the sky's the limit for this guy for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting facts to say the least. As we check in right now, about 3 and just under 4 minutes, so we should be seeing our leaders near the FMF soon in a couple of minutes anyway, and then we'll again see them coming toward the finish line. Can Ashburn, or is Ashburn Russell, this has to do loads for his program. I mean, Johnny, I mean, what's he going to do? Not only for him from a personal standpoint, but from the team and everybody behind him right now. I mean, the positive energy has just got to be overwhelming right now.
As they work so hard, and to see that light at the end of the tunnel and nearly get a win, and obviously with a few miles of could potentially get that win. So, you know, I'm sure the NFAB guys are hanging out there at the finish line, and fingers crossed, and, you know, certainly nobody wishing any ill will on Caleb, but they're hoping that, you know, Jordan just takes that one deep breath, just twists the throttle wide open on that NFAB Yamaha YZ450 and runs down Caleb. But that's been a tall order for anybody this season. I mean, Charlie was earlier this year, but Caleb Russell, you know, on a mission, again, working his way towards win number 8. Jordan Ashburn still doing everything that he can possibly do to keep him in sight, to keep that distance as minimal as possible. You know, again, there's so many so many factors that this course can throw at them, rocks, dust, lappers. So this thing not yet over, but as we wait near the finish line, we're just moments away from finding out. And then in the back of our mind, as we celebrate Caleb coming across the line, it is a 35-second difference, but let's not forget about Grant Baylor. If he puts in a smoking fast last lap on that last lap, he could, work his way up. Already in the third place position, both physically and on corrected time. There is a potential for really got 3 riders still with a shot at this with only miles left. So, I mean, that's exciting. It's been a long time since we've seen a battle that close. And, Rodney, that was just a glimpse we caught there, but that may have actually been Caleb Russell working his way up the PowerPoint hill there, the FMF PowerPoint. So, we'll wait and see. And if we see Jordan, we can assume that was, in fact, Caleb Russell, that it appeared to be going over the top of that hill.
Yeah, and you got to point out the fact that as Jordan rode with Caleb, this had to be a huge learning experience for him, and what it takes actually in order to get to and make that happen, to be able to ride with Caleb, to ride at that level, and he sees what it is, where that level is. Now he knows what benchmark he's got to start working for.
Yeah, absolutely. Confidence is key. And speaking of the man there, in second place position, working his way up the FMF PowerPoint, and he's just gotten himself a real shot in the arm for confidence today. I mean, he rode an excellent race. Certainly, couldn't possibly be happier unless, obviously, if he would have won it. But, again, a couple turns left as Caleb works his way to the finish into the chicanes, and here he comes.
Consecutive GNCC title, ladies and gentlemen. We raised him up from the grassroots of it all from the youth program. He worked his way through the amateur ranks into the XC2 Pro Lights ranks, into an XC2 Pro Class champion last year, and now time XC1 Pro Class champion.
And Rodney, as we watched him come through, you would have expected a celebratory wheelie or something like that. But keep in mind, these guys are Caleb, the consummate racer that he is, he's been told that Grant Baylor is only 30-some-odd seconds behind him on corrected time. Plus, he knows Jordan Ashburn is lurking back there. He raced that right down to the final turn. Didn't take now he's taking the opportunity to sell a champagne there. Didn't even take the helmet off. Those guys doused him with some champagne. But either which way, however this works out with as we wait for Grant Baylor to come across the line, we've got, we will wait before we declare him the winner of the day just yet, but he is the GNCC 2014 back-to-back champion. That we know for sure.
Most definitely he is, and big gap opening up between Russell and Ashburn, and that could spell bad news for Ashburn in the end with Grant Baylor. There's Ashburn checking in now. He does check in second, physically 1 minute, 0.2 seconds back, and oh man, this could be literally a hair-splitting decision as far as the overall second place and third place position.
And that 1 minute, 0.2 seconds tells us that 1 minute had elapsed since Caleb Russell crossed the finish line. Grant Baylor has not crossed yet, which means Caleb Russell is our overall winner for today. We do know that for sure. Now we'll wait. Grant Baylor should be working his way through the finish line chicanes. I hear a KTM 250 wide open. He's got a couple lappers in front of him. And I'm going to say that that's going to be good enough for second overall if we refresh our screen.
And it is.
Grant Baylor grabs that number 2 spot for the overall with the last lap time of 25:56. So Caleb Russell, 25:49. There is the fastest lap of the day, 25:49, and Grant Baylor only 7 seconds slower. So certainly nothing to hang his head about. He gave it everything he had, and he's thinking, man, I put in my fastest lap of the day on the last lap, and Caleb went 7 seconds faster. Man. But, Grant Baylor, obviously young, plenty of years ahead of him. We expect to see him on the front row in XC1 very soon. There you see his dad, Big Stu. They're celebrating second place overall, another XC2 win, and we'll have to take a look at the points and see what that does for the championship as well when we get an opportunity. But look at Grant. You can tell he's just exhausted, gave it everything. Those eyes are packed full of mud from earlier when it was raining. Look at him. He's thinking, what do you mean? I gave it everything I had. I was so close. Dad's saying, hey, buddy, I'm proud of you either way. And, that's awesome. He's going to stand up there on the overall podium with those guys.
Let's see, elapsed time. What was the difference between he and Caleb Russell? Did you say you calculated that?
We had elapsed time of 38:54 for Caleb and 39:36, so that would be 40 42 seconds. Kept it close. He was at 30, then 36, then 42. So
okay, look at our Can-Am recap of the race, Johnny Gallagher, as this one started out today. Paul Whibley was able to grab the hole shot and pick up $250 hole shot award from our friends at All Balls Bearing and Components. But man, the position jockeying got underway right. Jordan Ashburn got off to a good start. Jason Thomas got off to a good start. Caleb, though, I don't think got off to a great start. When they came through at the end of the first lap, I think Caleb was somewhere back in about the number 6 spot, if memory serves me correct. Bach, and we had a host of names, but eventually things started sorting out. Josh Strang, another rider that got off to a good start and a decent start, and had to work his way up through the pack and did so into the number 2 spot. So really, I mean, taking us through that, we had Jordan Ashburn leading, and behind him, man, all kinds of crazy things going on as Caleb Russell made the approach. Then, of course, just past the halfway point with only a little more than a lap to go, Josh Strang ends up getting gas splashed into his lap. He has to exit the race a little early, and of course, with that being said, just kind of left the door open for Caleb Russell and Jordan Ashburn to battle it out for the number 1 spot. Caleb finally gets around, and he goes on a mission. While he's on his mission, his teammate Grant Baylor's on a mission, working his way up from the XC2 Pro Lights ranks. He was running 3rd and was able to actually, in the end, finish up 2nd overall. So our overall top 3 is Caleb Russell, Grant Baylor, and Jordan Ashburn. In the XC1 Pro class, it's Russell, Ashburn, and we're waiting for 3rd place still to check Johnny Gallagher. And if that's the case, whenever it happens, it should be Andrew DeLong, as he was 2 minutes 42 seconds back. Another 3 minutes behind him was Ryan Sipes, but we got to point out the fact that's Ryan Sipes' best finish, if I'm not mistaken, so far in GNCC racing.
I believe you're right, Rodney. I think he had a 6th or 7th possibly in Florida. Actually, if we look here, we see Ryan Sipes. Oh, no, apologize. He had a 13th overall in Florida, but I believe he was 6th or 7th in the XC1 class. So the 4th would definitely be his best overall. And, you know, Rodney, one thing to point out here, which we see Andrew DeLong pushing his way to the finish line. You know, he's not only fighting knowing that he's got that XC1 podium in hand, he's thinking about the overall positions. He knows those XC2 guys are lurking back there, and he wants to get the maximum points he can on the day. You know, we commonly see when these guys come across the finish line, they'll go ahead and they'll change up their jersey. And when they do that, it's, you know, to get a clean jersey, look good for the sponsors. Let me tell you something that we both noticed there, Rodney. Caleb Russell put on a very special jersey when he put that on. And, you know, we see this in all forms of racing, and it's a special moment for these guys. These guys wear their numbers proudly on their back, except for one time. When you win that championship, when you're standing on that podium, you got your name and you got that big number 1 right on your stomach, and you couldn't be happier. He's going to look down at that, and you got to imagine that that's just a moment of pride for him and that entire FMF KTM team. There's his mechanic Tanner, his wife Chandler, you know, those guys all celebrating, and what an awesome moment
for sure, and an awesome moment also for Chad Hale, as he is the winner in our AMSOIL $250 giveaway, product giveaway. And of course, Chad at C_Hale199 predicted Russell, Ashburn, and Baylor. Well, he got the 3 right, but it was a little different in the overall. It was 2nd and 3rd when it was all said and done. Of course, hashtagging that GNCC Live. And congratulations, Chad Hale. You are the winner in our AMSOIL products giveaway. And, of course, you're going to find out first why AMSOIL is first in synthetics. Down there near the podium right now, a lot of celebrations. I mean, it's amazing. Caleb Russell all by himself. It's just like he's waiting for the opportunity to get up there and get that over with and then go celebrate. He'll be riding the 150 when we go high on a couple weeks, and he will also be riding that at the Ironman. They're raffling that off. We'll talk a lot more about that the next round. You see right there that TV camera in Caleb Russell's face. That's actually one of the motorsport folks that do a series on Caleb. They've got Driven to Win series that is in its 2nd season, and a great opportunity for them to follow the championship of Caleb Russell. And, you know, in reality, Johnny, think about this Caleb Russell. To have it documented the way that it is being documented. Has there ever been a champion in GNCC racing history that has ever been as documented of a championship as what Caleb Russell's first 2 have been?
Boy, yeah, I I mean, I don't know for certain, but not that I've seen you. You know, and it is great that Caleb's doing that for his fans and his sponsors, and you know, it really gives people a little bit of kind of behind-the-scenes insight into what happens. You know, it follows Caleb not only as he goes to the races and not only as he trains, but through his personal life. It documents him jet skiing, and there we see Jordan Ashburn. Look at that! look at the 9-mile wide smile on Jordan Ashburn. You know, Jordan's a pretty happy guy, but he's actually, as far as his facial expressions, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, he's pretty reserved.
He don't smile like that.
I'm just glad he got rid of the beard. Jordan, if you're out there and you're listening and you can hear good, you rode good, congratulations, buddy. Second place on the day, and what an awesome ride for him. You know, he was patting Caleb on the back, congratulating him on his win and the championship, but you know, Jordan Ashburn pulling up onto the podium, serving notice that, you know, hey, I'm serious, and I'm here to win. And I was real close today, but, you know, Jordan's going to go home. He's going to take that long ride back to Tennessee tonight, and you're going to look at it, and he's going to say 1 minute, 0.2 seconds. Yeah. And going into the last lap, what was it, 11 seconds? Yeah. You know, so, man, you know, if I could have just this or that, but at the same time, right now it's important for him to celebrate, to cherish this moment. You know, he's worked so hard. You can see there's the smile again. Nice smile, Jordan. You look good, buddy.
There's Papa. Look at that big smile there, man. I know that the whole family, everybody under the NFAB and Pro Yamaha, certainly happy. And you're right, you know, he did shave. I didn't realize that Joe Dirt beard he had, that patchy beard he had going. no, I know. Well, I mean, it was one of those Joe Dirt beards. He's still growing. He's learning to grow his beard, so to speak. He had where he's all hairy instantly like that. He's got to grow into it. He's not like this guy right here on the chin anyway.
Yeah, you know, and that's another, you know, winds of change. Let's talk about it real quick one more time before we go to Jen for these podium interviews. Young men up on this podium. These are, every one of these guys is, correct me if I'm wrong, under the age of 25 years old.
And graduated the GNCC.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Every one of these guys was a youth GNCC racer. So, you know, those of you at home, those championship, and talk about the results. Think about that when you're bringing your kids to the races. And if in just such a short period of time.
Could we maybe phrase it like this? GNCC, we build champions.
and there's 3 right there. GNCC racers.
No doubt. We build. And what would be cool is if these guys like Caleb and on the ISD, if those guys go over there and clean house at the ISD for some wild, crazy, though in our hearts and minds, they are the best in the world, and to be able to go and do that in a different form of racing. Jen Kenyon, as we like to say, Jenny on the spot, down here at Max's Victory Lane, ready to begin the celebrations here.
The fans down here, so let's hear it, guys, one more time for our top 3 overall finishers. We've got Grant Baylor, Jordan Ashburn. We're going to do things a little bit out of order. We've got 2nd place overall from the XC2 Pro Lights class. Let's hear it for Grant Baylor. All right, I call you Baby Baylor, but you're riding today. You were the man out there. Talk about the day a little bit, Grant.
I had one thing in my mind. I was going to win, and took off the start. I was 4th or so, and then crashed, went back to about 6th, worked my way through the pack again, crashed again, went back 1 or 2, caught up to Nick. He let me around, and you know, I just put my head down, and I think after the first lap I was about overall is what my pit boards were saying, and I really wanted that middle spot, pushing as hard as I could all day long, and I think I was about 30 seconds off of them, and you know, I was pushing hard, and I started getting dizzy about a mile from the finish. I mean, I was just giving it all I had. Caleb still got me by about 30 seconds, but I'm happy with 2nd overall.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we could tell you were pushing and pushing more often than the other guys with the bike that you're riding, or at least that's what it seems like to us out here. Now, talk about, you have the class champion that was in 2nd. He's not racing anymore due to injury, so you know you've got that thing pretty well under lock. So do you just kind of, what motivates you to go out there? You want that #1 spot?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want the middle spot, and hopefully at the last round I can move up and run the big boys class and pull out the 450.
So is that your plan? Are you telling us right now here live on RacerTV?
Plan.
All right, you heard it first. Well, Grant, we'll talk to you a little bit more about the XC2, but congratulations, 2nd place overall. That's your 3rd overall. Pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
All right, guys, Grant Baylor, 2nd place overall. Let's give him a hand. We're going to work our way over. Or, you know, actually, while we're interviewing Jordan Ashburn, let's get Grant Baylor down. We're going to go ahead, and that's Andrew DeLong. We're going to switch these 2 fellas out. We'll hear more from Grant Baylor in just a moment. But let's put our hands together for this guy right here. He led so much of this race, probably more than you've led in your career. It was very exciting to watch for us. How was it for you?
It was really exciting. I mean, I was really happy all day, and just kind of got in a mode at the beginning and just got a flow going, and just kept trucking.
There, you kind of tipped over on the first corner on the hole shot, and we're like, oh no, you guys were all going for that hole shot, and then all of a sudden went from like last to first pretty quickly. How'd you do it?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of pushed front end out in the first corner and went down up and was in 6th or 7th, and just kind of worked my way through the pack the first lap. And when we got to the rock gardens, I started picking people off at the end of the lap and just kind of tried to push out from there. So.
You did really well at that snowshoe race. It's kind of rocky, pretty. That plays into your favor. You're just a really solid rock rider.
Well, I do like the rocks, so I mean, we got a lot of stuff like this around Huxton a lot this summer, and it worked out. So.
I think that was something that we didn't really know about you, that you were such consistent all year, but you've really started to shine here at the last half of the season for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to be consistent all year and just tried to work hard during the break and come back, and Unadilla was a little rough, but got to finish it out.
Second place in the XC1 class, third place overall here. Jordan, who would you like to thank for making this all possible?
First off, I'd like to thank the Lord for keeping me safe, and I'd like to thank the whole Ampro Yamaha team. Factory Connection suspension was great today, and the Kenda tires, Liette, just everybody else I didn't remember. So thanks, guys.
All right, it was a pleasure watching you back here one more time, Jordan ASHBURN. And right here in the third place position in the XC1 class, I believe 4th overall. Grant pushed you out just a little bit there in that overall thing. But Andrew DeLong, tell us.
Yeah, it was a tough day. First lap, I felt like about 15 times. I was very I was pushing too hard. I wanted to be up front. I ride this stuff every day. I knew I could run up front, and I knew I could win if I was up front. So, but just you have these days in racing, and you just go home and do your homework and come back and be ready for next weekend.
So your bad day, you still all these past champions. That's pretty impressive still.
Yeah, I think it helped me though. I was able to hook up with Grant, and I fought, and I made a couple more mistakes, and then I lost them, and then try to flow everything and not fall, because it was pretty slick out there.
We saw you get your first assist before the break. You were extremely happy with your ride. You're in the same position on the podium here, but you're not quite as happy. You've got your expectations set up because you know what you're capable of doing. We want to congratulate you on wrapping up the 2014 National Enduro. You did mention after the last race at Unadilla, you were running up front. You were in those top 3 spots, but then you kind of held it back a little bit because you wanted to go. You did that, so we're really going to see you put this charge on here at the end of the season.
Yeah, I had to get back to my GNCC legs. I got fatigued. I was working so hard on my sprints that I haven't been focusing on the GNCCs because that was a championship for me to win, and so I got to get back at it and put in my motos. And
it looks like you've been doing just that. Congratulations, third place here in the XC1 class. Who would you like to thank, Andrew?
Factory Husqvarna, and I don't even know my sponsors yet, but Bel-Ray, Recluse, Parts Unlimited, FMF, Bel-Ray, PG, Ride PG, and Joey, Andy, my mom, my dad, my brother, and my girlfriend Angelina. My buddies saying support me, and just everybody that was out here and helped me today.
All right, one more time. And now, Caleb, I'm going to have you hold up this trophy right now. Let's give this guy a big round of applause. Once again in the center of Russell, your 2014 Mountain Ridge GNCC champion. And here, joined with us on the podium, is Tim Cotter. I'm going to pass the mic to Russell.
Thank you, Jen. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I stand here today in the middle of this great country of ours as we celebrate another national champion. And Caleb Russell wins this year. I go back, it was all the way to 2005 before we find a rider that's in a season. You still have 2 more to go. Congratulations. You're 2 in a row now. Your second #1 plate from GNCC and the American Motorcyclist Associations. Congratulations.
Pictures there for the GNCC Racing Instagram. Hopefully you guys are all following along. All right, Caleb Russell, you've got that piece of hardware in your hand. Do you have a little bit of pressure lifted off your shoulders now?
It's a little bit bittersweet. I feel like it should be just kind of allude back to 2012 when I lost it. But, it's good to get to a great year. It's a bummer that Charlie's out and hurt. But, I was looking forward to seeing who the best man really was this year, and I was really wanting to race him all the way to the finish again. But it's racing, and he got hurt, and I'm happy to be able to collect a bunch of wins this year and get that championship.
You know, you've been talking about that 2012 season quite often over the past 2 years as you've continued your dominance here and your championships. But I'm sure I could speak on this for sure, but that 2012 season seemed to make you who the rider that you were in that season. And, you know, since then it's been a whole different ball game. So it seems like that was a pretty influential year there on your career.
Yeah, it definitely was. You know, it taught me, you know, you can't give up. You gotta race those races to the finish and give it your all. And you know, that's what I've just tried to do the last 2 years. And you know, it's worked out pretty good so far. And you know, today was a pretty good day. I didn't get the best of starts, and it was weird. It rained, then it was dry. The track was like nice and loamy, and then real slick. So it was a little bit tricky at first, and you know, I caught up to Jordan, and I was kind of content following him around because he was riding really well. And you know, I passed him a couple times actually, and then I'd make a mistake, and he got back by me. And you know, he was riding excellent today, and he's really. You know, I ended up getting around him there about 2 laps to go or a lap to go or something, and I seen Grant was coming, so I had to kick it up a gear and get going. But you know, it was a good day, and it was a pretty good. Pretty fun, a little bit more technical in spots, and wish there was more woods, but you know, overall it was you know, it was how it ended up.
Yeah, talk about those battles that you and Jordan had going on out there. The past few rounds, you've kind of been on cruise control out there by your bit of competition. But what was your mental strategy as far as, you know, I think you had to finish 7th or 8th place or better, so you knew that you had that kind of coming into it. But then you had Grant Baylor coming from behind. So what was the, you know, were you trying to stay in front of Grant in the overall? Were you trying to go for the win? Or were you just trying to wrap up the championship? What was your priority there in those things?
And it was a pretty relaxed day for me. I wasn't, you know, I just nice and calm, and you know, I got a terrible start. My bike didn't start, and I just kind of was real patient and got going and closing in. And I don't want to let him win overall from XC2. I mean, I didn't do it, so I don't want anybody else to do it. But you know, I better be on top of my game when I'm riding this 150, because he might steal one away next race. So, you know, I'm looking forward for him moving up and see how he does. It's a whole different ball game when you start up front. You know, I've been there and done that. It's you know, you're riding XC2 and you're catching these guys, and you're like, man, it's easy. I'm gonna come smoke them when I get up there, and it definitely doesn't work like that. You know, maybe he will, maybe he won't. You know, you never know. It's just it's a tough transition at first, but you know, he's riding really well.
Yeah, you know, really quickly, let's talk about this. So Powerline Park, you're talking about riding that 150. Is it going to happen 100%?
Yeah, for sure. Now I got this red number 1 in my hand, putting the 350 in the garage and ripping the 150.
All right, well, that's pretty cool. For those of you that don't know, Caleb Russell's going to ride the KTM 150 at the last 2 rounds. It's going for a good cause. It's going to help support his ISDE fundraiser as well to Rory Mead's recovery fund. So it's 2 great causes. You can actually buy raffle tickets to win the bike afterwards. So that's all really cool. I know a lot of these fans are going to look forward to seeing you on that bike.
Like I said, I haven't even ridden it yet, so I'm going to ride it this next couple weeks and see how everything goes. And, you know, I'm going to ride it either or, whether I can win or whether I can. You know, it's I'm in a position where I can help my buddy Rory out and, you know, just get everybody excited about doing something different and spicing things up a little bit. But, you know, I got to give it up to my team, FMF KTM. My mechanic Tanner, he's done an awesome job this year. Everybody under the semi, rookie, especially getting this suspension dialed in. Dunlop tires, factory services motors, FMF, X-Trig, Renthal, CD Boots, Motosport.com. I can't thank those guys enough. They helped me out a ton. You know, my wife, my whole family, Recluse, Dunlop tires, you know, just everybody. I really appreciate it, and I'm happy to get the job done again.
All right, here he is, folks, your 2014 overall national champion and your 2014 Mountain Ridge GNCC champion. And let's hear it for our top 3 XC1 finishers. These guys put in a hard-fought day. Now, if we could get you guys together for a quick photo op, and of course, that will be followed by our champagne celebration.
We see the celebrations continuing down on the podium as together one more time for our top 3 XC1 Pro Class riders. 3rd place, Andrew DeLong. 2nd place, Jordan Ashburn. And your 2-time now champion of GNCC Racing, Caleb Russell. Photo bulbs begin to wane, and these riders set the hardware down. They're going to grab those big bottles of bubbly right there, and they're going to get ready to celebrate. And quite good reasons to celebrate for all 3 of these young riders as they work their way into the front of the, and you see down in front of the podium right now that some folks are stepping back, some folks are stepping up. And like we always like to say in GNCC racing, to the victor goes the spoils, and the spoils in GNCC racing, the sweet, sweet spray of champagne. Hey, there's little Will Best, man. He is an ATV and motorcycle racing enthusiast and racer himself. Probably one of the biggest fans right there. Big Charleston, West Virginia's right there in the green shorts, man. He is certainly a true believe it or not. I say keep an eye on this kid. He could be one of the greats. He follows religiously guys like Caleb Russell and any and all those guys out there as he loves this sport. And, you know, that's the great thing that, you know, it takes dreams like that. And they start someplace and they start standing in front of a podium, tasting the sweets of a champion. And that right there is a memory that that young man will be able to hold forever and ever and ever, just as much as that young man right there will be able to hold these special memories as well. What a great here at this Mountain Ridge GNCC, you know, after the 2-season, 3-year or so hiatus park, to be able to return to a place that feels so much like home, and for the amazing things that has transformed since the last time we were here in 2011. Caleb Russell had not even won his first XC1 Pro class take place until 2 weeks from now, when we went to St. Clairsville, Ohio for round number 12, when he won his in 2011. So some pretty interesting tidbits of information for you as we make this final few moments of this GNCC as special as we possibly can for those that have done so well here today, including we'll see back up on the podium here in just a few moments in that XC2 Pro Lights class, which you haven't had a whole lot of chance to talk about because of the excitement going on up front with Grant Baylor, who finishes 8 minutes and 21 seconds ahead of the second place ride of Trevor Bollinger, the number 18, who holds on to that out of Morgantown, North Carolina, and the number 3 spot, that KR4 Performance Arrive and Ride of Nick Davis on the 222 out of Mashopin, Pennsylvania. He was 3 minutes and 30 seconds behind Trevor Bollinger. But again, looking at the XC2 Pro Lights class, right now, some winds of change starting to blow around there a little bit itself, so some pretty cool things. And another cool thing is the Axeman did it one more time today, man. The hole shot expert grabbed another $250 hole shot award, and he's standing by with Jen Kenyon down at Max's Victory Lane.
That's right. You know, Paul Whibley, you got a new son here. We always make this joke. You're going for that extra $250 every round. You're pretty much the king of hole shots, so talk about your race a little bit after you grab that thing.
Yeah, I grabbed the whole shot and I led most of the first lap, and I was kind of looking forward to leading the whole lap, and then Jordan was flying. He got past me maybe a couple of miles before the finish, so settled into a good pace, and I actually thought I rode pretty good, felt pretty solid out there, but some other guys came past and actually were riding really fast. They had some good lines in the rocks and stuff, and I was a little bit slow to pick up on some of that. But no, I had a fun day. It was had fun.
Yeah, you guys definitely had a good pace going all race. You know, watching you progress after coming back from different injuries and whatnot, it seemed like today you were really solid and looked like you were charging up through the pack for sure.
Yeah, on the last by me, and got a little bit of fire going, and I was kind of pushing to catch him, but he got away. I made a few mistakes in the last lap, so. But it was, yeah, overall I had a pretty fun day.
It got that fire going because he's a motocross.
Oh, I just don't like getting past in general, but no, it was a good fun race.
All right, fair enough. Paul, who would you like to thank for getting up here, right?
I got to thank the Infab Emperor Yamaha team. Thanks to Monster Energy, Shoei Helmets, City Boots, MSR Gear, Fetcher Connection, Kenda Tires, FMF Exhausts, and G2. Thanks a lot.
All right, another $250. Richer, if you want to just pose for Ken Hill right there, he's going to do a nice snapshot, courtesy of All Balls Racing. That's the Hole Shot Award sponsor. Rodney, we're going to shoot it back over to you. We're going to bring up our top 3 XC2. We've got Trevor Bollinger and Nick Davis, you know, the usual suspects here on the XC2 Pro Lights podium.
No doubt about it. Quick, while we set the stage for that, we'll talk a little bit about Top Amateur. What a great day we had of racing for our XC2 Pro Lights class, but how about these 250A class riders that started out in the lap number 1. Well, when the day was ended, they actually ended up finishing 9th and 10th overall, but your top amateur on the day will be the number 27 of Craig DeLong from Morgantown, Pennsylvania, the younger brother of one class a moment ago. But Craig wins the 258 class and top amateur today. And we'll be talking with him here coming up in a few minutes. Right now, we head back down to the podium at Max's Victory Lane, where Jen Kenyon stands by with our Pro Lights class.
That is right, Rodney. I'm joined over here by Mr. Nick Davis, third place here. Going on here on the podium. We're going to wiggle our way around. Nick, congratulations once again. You're pretty solid up here at the second half of the season, huh?
Yeah, I guess you could say I'm getting better, you know, putting the results in. But today, just a sweet hole shot award, and just wanted to check out over these boys, and I just couldn't. Rode like a fish out of water, basically. Just really struggled, and you know, it wasn't bike's fault. Max's tires hooked up good off the start and everything. Just some days you got it, some days you don't, and today just wasn't my day, I guess.
You know, it still blows my mind, you guys that say, oh, man, I had an off day. I just beat 20-something other guys in my class, and I'm up here on the podium. I guess you're not satisfied until you're in the center, huh?
Yeah, I really wanted to, you know, get a win before the year's out. And, you know, I'm happy because I'm still on the podium, so a day on the podium's good, but just not, you know, we're all racers and we're all competitive and we want to win. So I guess until I get that first win, I'm always going to have that edge, you know?
Yeah, well, lucky for you, we still have 2 rounds left in 2014, so you still got that chance.
Yeah, definitely. St. Clairsville is pretty good for me, so I've always put some good results in, so we'll see what happens.
All right, well, Nick, we're going to grab your whole shot check. If someone could help me out and grab that from the digitaloffroad.com. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and grab that first. We'll get that thing in a nice photo op. And while we do that, Nick, why don't you go ahead and thank your sponsors. Let's get the other check. It's all good. We have so many checks up here, we can't even keep them straight. All right, get over here, Nick. Who would you like to thank for getting up here on the podium once again?
First off, I'd like to thank KR4 and my family, the Andrews family, Bennett, Dale, my mechanic. He's been wrenching for my, on my bike, and it ran awesome today. I can't thank him enough. His family, Joey, the Husqvarna team, everybody, KTM, pointing me lines. Everybody's cheering for me. I'd like to thank Maxis, Fly, Pro Circuit, Enduro Engineering, Micah Metals, KR4, just Bell Helmets, Superstore, my little brother, sister, everybody. Like I said, I just can't thank everybody enough, and I'm glad to be up here.
All right, well, Nick Davis, congratulations once again. Third place here in the class. We'll make our way to the second place finisher. I feel like I'm repeating myself week after week. You guys are solid up here. Trevor's second place here in the class. Got a smile on your face?
Yeah, it was a pretty good day. I didn't really like the track, but, I got a decent start behind Grant, and we made our way to the front, and just, I'd say around the 7-mile marker, Grant just walked away from me, and I just rode my own race from there and got around Nick, and it was a good day overall.
Yeah, you guys always seem so bummed to be up here on the podium. I guess you really want to knock that guy off the center, don't you?
Yeah, he's tough.
All right, well, this has got to do a lot for your overall point standings. I don't know, is it possible for you to make your way into that second spot, or did you? Do you know?
Actually, Ricky got hurt, so that's a bummer. He's not here racing. So with him being out, I should wrap up second. So.
Well, that's got to be pretty solid for your first year in the XT2 Pro Lights class, huh?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. Just wish Ricky had been here. That way we could battle it out. But, it's good.
All right, well, who would you like to thank for getting up here, bud?
Yeah, I want to thank my dad. I couldn't do it without him wrenching on my bike. And things have been pretty bulletproof with not much funding. My suspension was great, motivations, Fly, my Maxis tires were awesome today. FMF, HPD, USWE, DP brakes. I think that's it.
All right, well, congratulations once again, Trevor Bollinger, second place here in the XC2 Pro Lights. Before we get started with our Grant Baylor, once again with the second interview, I want to let you guys know we do have a couple more specialty awards. We got the KR4 fastest lap. That's going to be Caleb Russell. It was down to the wire with all you guys. We did confirm that's going to be him, so we'll bring him back up here in just a second. But first, let's hear it for today. XC2 Pro Lights winner here at the Mountain Ridge GNCC, Grant Baylor. All right, Grant, we talked a little bit about your impressive overall performance. Now let's kind of gear things back towards the XC2 Pro Lights Championship. Obviously, like we talked about earlier, unfortunately, Ricky Russell, that second place guy, he's not in anymore. But just talk about that championship battle. You guys had a pretty close run all season long.
Yeah, definitely. It feels good to get a good cushion and be out there out front in a good ways. I think I got about a 55-point lead over Trevor now, and it sucks Ricky wasn't here, or at least he wasn't racing, but he was out there cheering me on, giving me pit boards. It was pretty awesome, and yeah, I had a good day. I mean, I just started out and didn't pump up. Normally I pump up. It's been weird these past 2 races I haven't pumped up. Well, the enduro and then this one. So that's different for me, and I could actually put my head down on the first lap and charge without going over my head because I couldn't hold on the handlebars. And yeah, so just had a good day and got out front early, and then just focused on that top 3 overall spot and gave it my all.
All right, well, it looks like your all was pretty darn good today. Congratulations on a really, really big win for you and a good overall finish, of course. Who would you like to thank? I don't think we got all your sponsors in the first time.
The whole FMF KTM team, Mom and Dad, my mechanic Alan, Big Honcho over there for bringing my bike up to the track, and CD boots, Shoei helmets, 100% goggles, lit neck braces, ankle savers foot pegs, and Power Sports Graphics, Rod PG suspension, and I think that's about it.
All right, one more time. Let's hear it for our XC2 Pro Lights overall champion here today, Mr. Grant Baylor. Why don't you guys get together? We'll get a quick photo op, and of course, it'll be the sweet, sweet champagne celebration, but we're going to let Rodney give that tagline because he's much better at it.
All right, thanks a lot, Jen Kenyon. And the celebrations continue, and at the same time, wind down here at the Mountain Ridge GNCC. Put your hands together one more time for your top 3 overall. Actually, Nick Davis, Trevor Bollinger, and Grant Baylor here in this XC2 Pro Lights class. And as Jen said, it's that time now once again for the celebrations. Looks like, is Nick getting shirts? Was he getting ready to put a shirt on, or is he getting ready to toss hat? Nick Davis is going to throw some hats out, those KR4 performance hats, I believe, and arriving rides. But poor old Grant standing there. Where's my champagne, man? I almost won this thing. There, he grabbed it. There you go. All right, Grant, there you go. As we always like to say in GNCC, to the victor goes the spoils, and the spoils in GNCC, the sweet, sweet spray of champagne. We are looking at history, my friends, in GNCC racing, whether you realize it or not. This weekend at the Mountain Ridge GNCC has certainly, I think, heightened the level of drama and the intensity of this climax to this 2014 season. And though some things may be written in stone, like Caleb Russell's championship, there are so many other things that are exciting to what this championship and this series holds, both between the ATVs and the two-wheel motorcycle side of things. And, of course, I cannot wait myself to see what happens in 2 weeks when we head to St. Clairsville, Ohio for the continuation in round 12 of this Grand National Cross Country Series, as we'll be heading to Powerline Park, another traditional stop on the GNCC Tour, a little similar to this in some ways, but totally different in a lot. We'll explain that when we get to Ohio to talk a little bit about that. And, of course, the granddaddy of them all, nowadays the ones that one of the biggest premier events on the circuit. It's the series finale, going to be going to later in October to there in Crawfordsville, Indiana, the home of the Ironman and the Ironman GNCC. So be sure and check out GNCCRacing.com for more details and information on that. And your Get Ready, RockyMountainATVMC.com, Get Ready upcoming broadcast schedule looks like this. September 20th, the Mountain Ridge Pro ATVs. Later that day, I believe on the 20th, we'll have the, October 4th, Powerline Park Pro ATVs live. That is September 20th, Mountain Ridge Pro ATVs. That's on us right now today, as a matter of fact. So October 4th, we're Powerline Park. Pro ATVs live at 1 o'clock. I believe we'll have the UTVs at 5 o'clock. And on Sunday, we'll be back with the bikes at 1 o'clock again there in 2 weeks. As we head back down to Victory Lane, where we're standing by with more celebrations.
That's right. We couldn't get enough of Caleb Russell, so we brought him back up here because we have another award to give him. What, that's like almost every award. You could have got the whole shot. You would have had a whole sweep of all the awards. But hold that thing high and mighty. An extra $150 for the KR4 fastest lap. Caleb Russell, your lap time was a 25:45. That's not the first time you've gotten that thing here this season, Caleb.
Yeah, there for a while I was on a roll. I think I got besides Florida, after that, I pretty much got them all, besides a couple, I think. But, you know, it's cool to bring an award like this, and got to thank KR4 for doing that. It's pretty cool and something that was needed, I think. And, you know, hopefully they can bump up the purse money there for that next year.
Oh, man, I think that's a challenge there, KR4 Performance. Well, it's much appreciated from these guys, a little extra cash in your pocket, in addition to all the great things that you've earned here today. So congratulations, Caleb, once again.
Thank you.
All right, Rodney, and actually we are going to bring up our top amateur. I'm going to pass this microphone over to Mr. Johnny Gallagher, and he's going to present our top amateur award.
Craig, you want to come on up here? We've got the American Cargo Top Amateur Overall Award, and if this is our second DeLong on the podium for one day, so these guys had a great day today, and Craig had a great battle out there. We'll let him tell us about it here in just 1 second. All right, folks, put your hands together. Craig DeLong today, our top amateur overall award winner. We've got a nice check here from American Cargo for him. We've got the top amateur overall award and his medal. Craig, you had a great battle out there today. You and Austin Lee were back and forth. This is amateur overall number 7 on the year for you. You've had, I believe, 12th overall was your previous best for today. I don't know if you know this or not, but today you were 9 overall. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, is this your first top 10 overall ever?
Yes, sir.
And you got to be pretty excited about that. Tell us about that battle you had out there with Austin today.
It was a good day. It was a good day of racing between 3 of us. Mikey was there in the beginning of the race, and then about halfway through we stopped for gas, and it was just me and Austin. And we must have swapped the lead probably about 5 times a lap. And I would make a mistake, he'd get by me, and then he'd make a mistake, and I'd get by him. And then just going the last couple laps, and I started to inch it out a little bit more because I didn't want to have it come down the last lap. So dropped the hammer and gapped it about 30 seconds going in the last lap, and I stopped for a quick splash of gas, and then just gapped it out a little more.
So what'd you think of the track? I know you being from PA, these got to be pretty similar conditions to what you're used to at home there. Did you feel comfortable right from the get-go, or did you have any struggles out there today?
Yeah, I felt pretty comfortable in some spots, but it was a little bit dusty off the start, and then we got that second rain, and that really helped it out in the open stuff. But in the woods, it was slick, and definitely had to watch where you were going, you know, because the rocks were slick, so you had to keep your momentum high and not to make too many mistakes. But yeah, it's kind of just like riding at home, you know, just rocks are rocks, and just got to ride them same.
Well, great ride once again today, Craig. I'm sure you got a few people at least that you want to thank for making this possible for you.
Yeah, definitely. I thank my parents, my mom, my dad, Andrew, Angelina, Sam, Nicolette, and Husqvarna, Andy Jefferson, Max's Tire, Moose Racing, FMF, Bellray Oils, Hall Cycle, Solid Performance Suspension, All Balls Racing, Enduro Engineering, and everybody else I forgot. Thank you.
There he is, folks. One more time today. Your top amateur overall, Craig DeLong.
Well, thanks a lot, Johnny Gallagher, and congratulations to the young DeLong there, Mr. Craig DeLong, as we have 2 DeLongs in the top 10. The winds have changed, like we said, blowing his first ever overall top 10 from that 250A class. So pretty impressive stuff. And I hate to keep talking like that, but that's the note, and that's the feeling of the weekend, believe it or not. And, we're going to keep it here for just a few more moments instead of signing off like we normally do at this particular time, because we got something really neat and special and kind of unique for championships, and especially here in the GNCC. It's the championship team photos, where they basically take over the pro podium down there in the Max's Victory Lane, and they have their celebratory photos, and the entire team and folks from come climbing out of the woodworks, it seems, family members, everyone just able to enjoy the moment in the spotlight with the champion. And with this being the second season, sometimes one has to say, does it get old? I can tell you right now, anyone that's ever been a part of a championship-winning team. I can tell you right now, it doesn't get old. It only gets sweeter with each championship that comes by. And we, as race fans at home along the World Wide Web, and of course this great opportunity with GNCC live on RacerTV.com, are going to bring this to you firsthand. Nothing really super exciting, but it's an opportunity for you to share in this very, very special moment, as we're joined by a very special person in the GNCC Racing Nation, and this guy right here, kind of, I guess, the first voice of GNCC in off-road, and eventually became as what we call the governor of GNCC Racing Nation, Mr. Tim Cotter.
I don't know where you come up with your names, but you're right. I have been around a long time, going back to the Blackwater days, started in the late 70s, and it never gets, this doesn't get old. As what we are watching here on television, and those of you that are still here, we hope that you'll come down to the podium as Caleb Russell now celebrates his second national championship win with the photo op. The bike's all buffed up and cleaned up. Everybody's got Championship Russell t-shirts on, and champion coming up, and this is a special time. It sometimes gets emotional. Sometimes it gets emotional. But nonetheless, this is the fruition of a lot of hard work.
And it is, and a lot of years of hard work, and
Look at
a
there.
dream. Yep, a dream that started so many years ago by, believe it or not, in a lot of respects, you could deem grandfather and Dave Coombs, with Carrie Coombs Russell being his stepmom, and of course Jeff Russell working hand in the GNCC series a couple of decades ago.
You know, it's so gratifying. But we are seeing second generation GNCC riders.
Yes.
You know, Caleb was born into off-road racing, and obviously has a tremendous passion for it. Enjoys what he's doing. And so now, as we sit here in the studio and we can look over onto the podium and we see the number ones going up. Come on, put your number ones up, as this is the national champions for 2014. Caleb Russell. As one, look, there's Howard. Come on, Howard, get your shirt on. Howard Russell, grandpap.
Well, there's Caleb's little brother right there. That's
on
Trevor.
the far left of your screen is Howard Russell.
His grandfather.
That's Jeff Russell's father, Caleb's grandfather. Then you see Chandler and Carrie, the stepmother there. Tina, I believe, is up there. Yep. Caleb's mother. There's Roslyn, and of course there's Jeff Russell in the back there. So congratulations, job well done for Team KTM, the Muscle Milk KTM, and particularly Caleb Russell and his family and all those folks that turned wrenches and tuned the motorcycle and watched his diet. It is a tremendous day, emotional for some, and rightfully so, as we celebrate GNCC, the GNCC heritage. Just a lot of fun.
It is. And Tim, I know years ago, whenever the youth programs began in GNCC, it basically became out of a need, a necessity, for just simply for the fact that there were kids around the track. They needed a place to ride, and at the same time, it was the perfect opportunity for us to begin grooming champions of off-road.
And so it is. We are about to set the sun on another day of GNCC racing here in the mountaintops of central Pennsylvania, underneath the eerie shadows of these awesome windmills. Tremendous engineering feats as we see these windmills. And as you look across, not too very far away from there, the mountains of West Virginia and Maryland, we are definitely in God's country. What a great day it's been here up in Somerset, Pennsylvania. What a wonderful facility.
Kind of near the stomping grounds of GNCC, if you will. I think this particular GNCC has everything to offer that a GNCC needs, there's no doubt. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us here today from GNCC Live, and of course the victory celebrations from the Maxxis Victory Lane. And we just want to say congratulations to Caleb Russell for his second consecutive title, and of course want to say thanks to everyone for making their way here and watching along the World Wide Web at RacerTV.com. On behalf of everyone here at Racer Productions and of course at RacerTV.com, all the great camera guys and all the guys behind the scene, you did another great job. Also my co-hosts, Jen Kenyon and Johnny Gallagher, I'm Rodney Tomlin saying good day, everybody.